Greetings, clobberers and clobberettes. Welcome to a very special early bird edition of Wildcard Wednesday night here on Clobberin Times number 398 on YouTube for the past 2 years now, a little over 2 years now, and of course 1098 overall, over 13 plus years of clobbering geekness, and I want to thank everyone who is here. We're starting at. How can you do a show about Blake 7 without starting at 7? At least in my time, it's 7 o'clock. It's 7 somewhere, and that's in my time zone. It is a couple hours early, and so. But not only that, not all of our friends who join us all the time are Blake 7's fans. I don't expect there to be a whole bunch of people here, but right now at least have a 7 count. At least 7 of you are here according to the thing. I hope it stays above 7 at least, just to keep it. It was at 8 for a second there. We'll see. But yeah, I also, unfortunately, when I planned this, I'd forgotten that I'd promised I would be on a stream around 12 p.m. tonight on the Mr. Nerdporeal Lifeform show, reacting to the latest episode of The Orville, which drops tonight at 11 o'clock my time. So I thought I would, for a couple of reasons, it would be good just to do the show early tonight. Plus, this is a British show. Let's at least start a little bit at a not quite so ungodly hour for my good friends across the pond. Of course, anyone else can catch it later if they need to. And just shout out to anyone who is catching this later on a rerun. Please, I hope you enjoy it. I'm gonna try to do right by it by taking my time. And I hope you enjoy. And I hope if you whatever your disagreements may be, because there are always going to be disagreements with a ranking and ratings of episodes of any show or any movies or whatever, please leave comments in the below. But in the meantime, I thank you for listening or watching on the replay. And let's see here. I'll just a couple of quick show notes, and I'll say some hellos, and then we'll get roaring. Let's see here. Tomorrow night, please, of course, join us for the Clubhouse. Raquel and Mark and myself, as always. Clobby's Clubhouse will be at the usual standard time, 9 p.m. Central, and I'm looking forward to it as also. And then, of course, Saturday night Star Trek. We are continuing our mission, the fourth leg of our important mission, to review all of Real Trek 66 through 05. And, hey, we're continuing now, just getting underway with Deep Space Nine. It's our second show of that, and looking forward to that, of course. Going to be a lot of fun. And then Monday night, Mark C. Comics Talk. The great J-Man and I shall review a classic, Clobby's Classic Comics review of Batman number 321, Dreadful Birthday, Dear Joker, by the great Lynn Wein, Walt Simonson, and Dick Giordano. Looking forward to that. Friday night, I'll be on tomorrow on the great Nick Weiser's Comic Shop Talk, reviewing the classic Bronze Age mid-70s series, A Man Called Nova. The first 4 issues, we'll be doing that in a series. So I'm looking forward to that. Of course, Sunday night, you got Mark C's Geekery, Sunday Night Geekery. And, of course, Mark C does have a new video out. My good buddy Mark C has a new video out, a new enabling video. So now let's get to some hellos, and then we'll get started. But first, I always love to greet everyone who's here. Anyone who is listening, lurking, or listening later on a repeat or something, thank you so much. I never say it enough. Please like and subscribe if you have not already. I do appreciate having you here. J-Man popped in. He said starting early. He said he'll be late for this one. He'll catch it later. If you are catching this later, J-Man, brother, let me know what you think. And good to see you, buddy. Thank you. The great Chris Persia. Thank you so much for all you do, Chris Persia, and a great wrencher, and thank you for helping to promote the show on YouTube. I mean, and the art you do, dude. I'm speechless. It's so good. Thank you so much. Guagnar, what's up, buddy? Good to see you. Pat S, what's up, buddy? Hail, good to see you, man. Hey, Dave G Sound, good to see you. Thank you. Says he'll at work, but he'll watch later. Well, this is to you, shouting out to you. When you get a chance to watch, thank you so much, my friend. Appreciate you. Captain Time Lord Spock, what's up, buddy? It is good to see you. Avon lives, my friend. Rough Girl. Hello there, Rough Girl. Good to see you. $4.99. Oh, you're too kind. Super chat. You're very kind and very generous. Thank you so much, lovely lady. Really appreciate you. It says, showing support because you rock. I am definitely made of rocks. Good to see you, my dear. Thank you for being here. I really appreciate that. Let's see here. The great Scuba Pete. What is up, buddy? And they call him Scuba Pete. All right, man. Hope you're doing well, buddy. Hope you and Leslie and the lovely wife is doing well, and I hope all of you are just doing great out there. And of course, I'm great for more of the evil romance betwixt Servalan and Avon, aka the Great Hungry Boy. What's up, buddy? I like that one. Chris, thank you for that. You're too kind. Appreciate you, buddy. Okay, Blake 7, folks. It's a classic. It's a great science fiction series. Now, I was first introduced to this show, of course, back in the 80s when, as many of us were back then, Doctor Who, of course, and the show was made by a lot of the same division of Doctor Who. Hey, Scuba Pete, thank you for the 199 super chat. We're all well. Love you. Love you back, brother. Thank you, man. Appreciate you, buddy. As you all know, Doctor Who was huge in the 80s. I was a huge Doctor Who freak. And those of us who were huge fans of Doctor Who in the 80s were starving for anything British science fiction because of that, obviously. Of course, even, there were other things like, I'd already been in love with The Prisoner. I'd been a fan of the older British, a lot of other British shows like Monty Python and The Avengers and such. And we hear this thing called Blake 7, and there's a lot of talk about it in science fiction circles anyway. And eventually, somewhere in the mid-'80s, it made its way over here through the same venues that Doctor Who was, the PBS affiliates, the educational PBS affiliates. So I remember hearing all kind of hoopla about the show. I watched the first episode the way back. And I didn't really, again, look, I was young. I have no excuse. I was young. I didn't find it compelling. I was kind of like, I'm out. I didn't really care for it. I didn't stick with it. I was a very impatient young man. No, I'm an impatient old man. But I do have a lot more patience than I used to, by the way. So I didn't give it much thought. I didn't care. But a few of my friends did not quit on it, and they stayed with it. And then over the course of the next year or two or whatever, they were always talking about, oh, you should have watched it. It was good. Yeah, whatever. Whatever. And then down here, the great Paul Darrow and the great Michael Keating, Avon and Villa, attended a convention down here in New Orleans, Louisiana. I was not a fan of the show yet, so I did not go. Two friends of mine who were fans of the show, and they love to throw this back in my face as much as they possibly can. They did attend it. It was Claude, and it was another friend named Scott. And they got to spend a lot of time hanging out with these guys and how much great fun there was, because there was very few attendees at the con, and they were talking about how much fun they had with them. And I was like, I don't care. And finally, I got tired of hearing it. I guess stop. I want them to just leave me alone. Stop telling me about Blake 7. And this is somewhere around 1986, 87. And so I borrowed all 52 episodes from a friend of mine. But you know what? I'd seen a few things. I'd heard about the controversy of the last episode, which was entitled Blake. And so I watched that one first. I didn't really watch any of the other ones. And then when I watched that one, I said, oh my God, I got to know what happens. It just blew me away. I said, what the hell? So I went back, started over, and I was then at the time married. My then wife and I, she was pregnant with our first child. When I would get home from work every night, we would just binge watch the show. When I knew no such thing as binge watching, I guess there was, because we had all the VHSs borrowed from a friend of mine, and I just couldn't get enough of it. Watched them all. And to my lasting regret, if I'd done it earlier, I would have been able to meet Michael Keating and Paul Darrow, but I did not. Alas, I became such a huge freak for the show. Of course, I copied all of his recordings. When they finally put them out on VHS, I bought them when they were all released on VHS in the States. I watched the show over and over and over again to a sickening, like a disturbing degree. I've watched them all so many times, sometimes in binge fashion, and sometimes just stick a random episode on and boom. So much so that, and unlike our wonderful first officer Raquel, who has to watch everything in a linear fashion, she's linear. She always has to watch. She can't just like click on a random episode of Star Trek. She has to watch from the beginning. I'm not like that. I can get in the Blake 7 mood and throw any old episode on there, just like I am with Star Trek and whatever. So obviously, as with Star Trek, there are a lot of third season episodes that I don't like that much. So I don't watch them as much as I watch the episodes I do like. So I'm going to rank all of the episodes, all 52 of them from, I hate to use the word worst the first, because even the worst episode of Blake 7 has good things about it. There are some fans who don't like the fourth season. I'm not one of those. I love the fourth season, even though there are a couple episodes that are clunkers. So I'm going to have a rating system of 1 star to 7 stars. There's some halves and some pluses in there. I figured I'd top it off at 7 from a little more silly symbolism. So 7 is 7 with some pluses behind it is about as high as an episode can get. And now, everyone, without further ado, let us get started on my ranking and rating of the classic BBC science fiction series, Blake's 7, created by the great Terry Nation. Yes, that Terry Nation, creator of the Daleks for Doctor Who. So who is ready to get started with number 52? And some of it, look, by the way, I'll say that I'm sure a lot of people won't agree with these my rankings or even my ratings. I'm sure I will offend some fans, but I'm just going to have to take that chance, right? Hey, live and learn. Danger. So my number 52, the bottom of the barrel for Blake 7, but hey, even still, that is Animals at number 52 with a rating of 1 whole star. 1 whole star. And again, I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time talking about the episodes that I think are lesser. Be here all night if we did that. Suffice to say, it's tough to find a lot to like about this episode. It's a Dana episode. I do love Dana Mellenby, played by the lovely Josette Simon. And she's, she's a likable character, and she's done, she's very, and again, beautiful woman. They gave her a romance episode where she goes to the planet Bukal 2 or whatever the hell it was, and meets a former colleague, a friend of her father's, named Justin. He's a genetic scientist or what have you, and she quickly learns that he's messing around with some of the locals. He's experimenting on some of the locals, and he's working on a lot of pretty messed up stuff. Island of Dr. Moreau type stuff. There's a little bit of that symbolism here. She's trying to get help with this to combat this new Federation pacification drug that the Federation is putting out there. Yeah, 1 star. I'm sorry. And Servalan is in it. There's again, even the worst episodes of Blake 7 have something in it. I love the scene where actor Kevin Stoney comes back and plays a kind of a shaky character named Ardros or whatever it was, where it has a little tete-a-tete with Servalan. But this Dana-centric episode has its issues. Like I say, story by Alan Pryor, and director was Mary Ridge, who was a good director. It's just, again, I remember, even this is the bottom, I don't hate it or anything. There's almost no episode I hate, but I don't think this is a very compelling episode. So we will quickly move to episode 51. A ranking 51, rating 1 star, Sarcophagus. Story, Kenneth Lee, director Fiona Cumming. What can I say? This you can make a case for Sarcophagus being number 52, to be honest with you. They might be almost interchangeable. Yet another tired story about using Callie's telepathic abilities to turn her wacky and make her do wacky things. It's got some of the most silly scenes I've ever seen in a Blake 7 episode. The only good stuff being some of the stuff between Avon and Tarrant. There's some good confrontations between Avon and Tarrant. And I did like at the end when the evil Callie's trying to take over and Avon just basically shuts her down. And, just overpowers her basically. And he says, "You're beautiful when you're angry." That said, this episode is, again, the rest of the crew are a bunch of punks. They're all punked by evil taking over Callie. I'm tired of aliens taking over Callie with her friggin' telepathic abilities. This is a very weak episode, in my opinion. Like I said, you can make a case for being at the bottom. It's 51. That's about almost as bottom as you can get. Number 50, Moloch. Good Lord. Moloch is a dumb story where the Liberator sees Serverland's ship goes somewhere out to the edge of the galaxy, and they find this planet that's behind some sort of invisibility screen, a planet called Sardos, I believe, whose inhabitants have advanced matter replication technology. And anyway, it's a bunch of gobbledygook. Basically, it's just boring. This is a boring episode that has one fairly redeemable scene. All of them, even the worst ones, have one or two scenes you can go. And this one has a really fun. I appreciate that, Hungry Boy. This has a really fun scene between Villa and Serverland, which you almost never got on the show ever. So this is the one time you get to see two of the best characters have a bit of an interchange, and I kind of liked it. I enjoyed the stuff with Moloch. I mean, the episode being useless and dumb, just not a good one. But the highlight being the Villa and Serverland scene. That was pretty good. And again, I love both of those characters so much. So again, like I said, I'm not going to spend a lot of in-depth details or time on any of these, especially a lot of these earlier episodes or these first or these bottom episodes. But it's not one I like a whole lot, and not one I like to go back and revisit very often at all. So number 49, The Web, from the first season, ranking 49, rating star and a half. Story, Terry Nation, director, Michael E. Bryant. This is actually not a terrible story. But again, here we go with something from R&R's past. I don't know, when they get a little weird with some of that stuff with Auron. And it's not like a horrible story. It's just not a very good one. There's some good conflict between the characters early on. But outside of that, I think the only thing that was... the Decimas really are just... they're pretty cringy. So not really feeling it with the Decimas. I'm tired of, again, here we are at the bottom again, and we've already have 2 episodes where Callie is taken over by a damn outside force. Hey, Masters Maniac Mexico, welcome. Good to see you. So here we are, only at episode 49, and we've got another one where Callie gets taken over by a damn alien force because of her... I really got tired of that crap. And this was, of course, it's not related in the sense it's earlier on. This is episode 5 of the first season, but written again, of course, by Terry Nation, directed by Michael E. Bryant. So that's not number 49. The Web is not really a good episode. Sorry. Number 48. Ultra World. Another one that you can make a case could be even lower than it is. Season 3, episode 10, ranking 1.5. Story, Trevor Hoyle, director, Vera Lorimore, who did a lot of them. I don't have a whole lot to say about Ultra World. There's some interesting conflict between the characters, but it's really kind of a dumb story. And I just it's all in almost some of those last ones toward the end of the third season. Sometimes felt a little bit like filler. It was an artificial planet. Callie, the planet that Callie was it. Callie is drawn to the rest of the crew and chase after her. It's another one with Callie getting messed up somehow with her telepathic abilities a little bit. I mean, they really got annoying. It was about some massive brain controlling the planet. Again, not a lot to write home about. An interesting science fiction idea, but just not a particularly compelling or entertaining episode. Dave Bob, what's up, buddy? And Ezra Goldstein, hello there. Ezra Goldstein, he directed Revenge of the Cybermen, probably a lot of other episodes as well. They were talking about Michael E. Bryant. So, yeah. Not a lot to say about some of these early episodes, I must admit. Number 47, Traitor. With a rank of 2 stars. Season 4, episode 3. Story by the great Robert Holmes. He's one of the best Doctor Who writers ever. Directed by David Sullivan Proudfoot. Now, even though it's by the great Robert Holmes, it's not one of your greater episodes. Hey, Max Redstone, what's up? Ultraworld, Villas Limerick, save the day. Good to see you, Max. Hey, buddy. So at 47, again, Traitor, it's an interesting, again, another episode that has a fairly interesting premise because, Robert Holmes is a brilliant writer. Again, he's one of the best Doctor Who writers ever. But it really is only mostly remarkable for it tells us, this is episode 3, like I said, it shows us that Servalan is still alive, now under the name of, or the auspices of Commissioner Sleer. And this episode really is elevated by its very last scene. A great scene where Avon, when finally, Tarrant and Dana convince Avon that Servalan is still alive, and he was, how the hell did she get off the Liberator? I don't know, but she's basically he's not wanting to believe it, and Tarrant says, you're just running away from the truth. So in Avon, that scene, that ending, when he goes, all right, I believe you. I didn't want her to die like that anyway. I need to kill her myself. Then it goes, bum, 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 bum. I love that ending. I mean, just, again, the look on Avon's face when he realizes that Servalan is still alive after all this. I need to kill her myself. God, that was the beginning of a very interesting character evolution for Avon that ran through this whole season. That he was, Avon was changing. Avon was going through a fascinating, I don't know if you want to call it an evolution or a de-evolution, whatever. He was just, getting on the edge there a little bit. Number 46. Still in the 4th season, we've got Sand. Okay. Someone's got sand in the vagina. That'll be episode 9 of season 4 with a ranking at 46 and a rating of 2. Story Kenneth Lee, director Vivian Cousins. Again, another episode that has a fairly interesting science fiction premise to it. Phantom Outsider, what's up, buddy? Good to see you. Nobody's late, man. I did start very early. Because I got a lot to get through here. So. Plus, I wanted that symbolism of starting at 7 o'clock. I admit it. That's that, and plus all this other stuff I have to do after the show tonight. But now that we've got all this time, I'm going to take my time with it. The idea of the sand itself is interesting. Some of the stuff. Max Redstone has sand at number 12. He really likes it. Well, there you go. Some of the stuff with Tarrant and Servalan are pretty good. I like some of the lines on the. After all, Avon, you are the dominant male. And again, another classic 4th season Avon ending when he's tormenting Tarrant. He said basically about maybe she didn't get off the planet, or which would make you the last man in her life. Yeah, it's this is the anti-Anakin episode, the Vampire Sand. So it's an okay one. It's not one of my again when we're some of those early ones I really disliked. You find very little to like about them. When you get to 46 and we start getting to these later, remember that we're on a 1 star to 7 star scale. So you're not going to find a lot of hate coming from me. I mean, some definitely ridicule about the episodes that we've already started talking about. But you're not going to find a lot of hatred for any of these episodes that much. So, number 45, Dawn of the Gods. Here we go again. I guess you can see a pattern. The Callie episodes, and I love Callie, but the Callie episodes that do with their telepathy and stuff like that, or do with the past of Avalon or stuff like that, really just kind of get on my nerves a little bit. And this was kind of a hokey episode. Has one of my favorite lines in it when they get taken into the black hole and survive. And Avon is standing over, or kneeling over Villa. And Villa looks up and says, "I'm in hell, and it's full of Avons." Oh, God, I love that line. I also love the exchange between Avon and Tarrant when Avon tries to get into an environmental suit when they're going into the there's a fake chance for one of us when he tries to get into the Enviro's suit when they go through the black hole, which I thought was kind of funny. And Tarrant says to Avon, "One day, Avon, I may have to kill you." And Avon says, smiles, "It has been tried." Again, some interesting things about this episode, but a lot of hokey crap in it too. No, we all go together. Yeah. Story, James Follett. Director, Desmond McCarthy. Brian Hepburn. Hello there. Welcome, my friend. So, where are we? Number 44. Volcano. Alfred, the celestial toy maker, and other characters. Michael Gow, the great episode character, or the great actor Michael Gow. Again, another episode that's really the first non-setup adventure of the third season, episode 3 of season 3, rating 2.5 stars. Alan Pryor on the story, directed by Desmond McCarthy. Yeah, I wasn't not the worst of episodes. Like, none of them are horrible at this point. It's an okay episode. There's some sun. I mean, there's some pretty good stuff with Avon on the bridge of the Liberator. Some interesting exchanges in these relatively new characters in Tarrant and Dana. But overall, I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on this one. It's a decent episode. It's not one of my super scintillating episodes or anything because it's only at 2.5 stars. And that third season was really good. So it's not even, the first half of the third season was really good. So let's go to number 43, shall we? Number 43, The Keeper. More setup. Again, a necessary episode to set up the Star One saga that they were building up to. This is when they find out, this is the penultimate to that. When we find out the location of Star One, that's what this episode is for. Well, I couldn't put Aurak. I don't know who I was going to choose, Brian. You only get 4 options on those polls. So, what are you going to do? I just, when I got, if Aurak's your favorite, I hear you. I love Aurak, but and everybody remind me later, I will check the poll. But The Keeper, again, a relatively unremarkable episode. Some of that stuff on Goth, some of the stuff with Avon and Callie was pretty good on the Liberator, chasing down what was ostensibly Travis's ship, though not. And some of that stuff was kind of okay. And a few seconds and I would have left you, Blake. Yeah, whatever. All in all, just a filler episode meant to breach the gap and send us on our merry way to Star One, but not one of the better ones of the second season, which was a tremendous season. Number 42, the Anthianza Warlord. The penultimate episode of the series, season 4, Episode 12. Story Simon Masters, directed by Victor Ritelis. With a rating of 3 stars. Again, certainly not a great episode or anything like that. It has a lot of interesting stuff. I like a lot of that stuff on the planet with Avon and Sulin. I wasn't too big on the Tarrant romance thing, but it was a pretty crazy, sad ending. Overall, I may have had this one too high. You could probably knock it below a few of the other ones, but I was just, some of those other ones I think rated a little bit lower. Ezra, no, I'm ranking these in order of how much I love them, and so I haven't gotten to that episode yet to answer your question. I'm going from, I don't want to use the word worst, from least to best, in my opinion, anyway. Oh, yeah. Oh, I guess I didn't even mention, Dave Bob, that there's obviously going to be spoilers. Everyone here, I mean, I'm spoilering the hell out of it. I'm not going to avoid spoilering anything anyway. I'm quoting things and stuff like that because they just assume, anyone here is already a fan of the show and knows about it. So, let's go to 41. 41, Power. 3.5 stars. Season 4, episode 2. Ben Steed on the story. Mary Ridge is the director who directed a lot of episodes. I really like this episode. I mean, we're getting into the episodes episodes I do like a lot. Some great exchanges between Avon and Pella, even in a Villa and Pella as well. Some hokey stuff with Dana killing Gunsar in a battle. That was kind of silly. But this, of course, they're on Dorian's planet Xenon, trying to break back into the Xenon base so they can get to the Scorpio, which is, and there's a lock and Avon's trying to sort of rediscover the teleport, the Teleergatron, by other means, since the Liberator's not around anymore. So it's but it's a pretty solid episode. It has one of my favorite Avon lines after he shoots Pella, which is that was the always the obvious answer for the men, the hummock. And he goes, "If you didn't want the answer, you shouldn't have asked the question." Love it. Hey, Dad Man, what's up, buddy? Good to see you, bro. Thank you for being here, my friend. Let's go to episode 40. Episode 40, Cygnus Alpha, starting with the great Brian Blessed, ranking number 40, rating 3.5 stars. Season 1, episode 3. Terry Nation, of course, on the story, director Vera Lorimore. This, of course, being the third episode of the series, was just getting the show just starting to try to find itself, get itself set up, a very set up episode. And some good stuff in it, some great interactions between Blake, Avon, and Jenna, which are fun. And, some good stuff with Gan and Villa down on the planet. We're pretty close on that one, Max. Brian Blessed, who's over the top crazy, is very fun in the episode, though. Because, look, he's Brian Blessed. He's going to be great in everything he does because the guy's a monster in the best sort of way. And so he's incredible. I'm in love, of course, with Pamela Salem, who was always a hottie on Doctor Who and some other stuff she's been on. She's on a Doctor Who episode, that is. It was just sort of definitely a setup episode for sure, but I liked it. Blake deals with a religious cult on Cygnus Alpha, and this is, of course, the early days of the show. Very much getting started, very much laying the foundation. So now number 35, Mission to Destiny. 3.5 stars. This episode it's just fun to see Avon get a spotlight. Avalon and Callie on just sort of a murder mystery on board another ship is a deviation. It's okay. Nothing spectacular, but it's fairly solid as an entertaining. Again, it's because it was nice to see Avon get to do, get at this point. This is episode 7 of season 1. Direct, story again. Terry Nation, Pennant Roberts, the director. It's good to see Avon shine a little bit, getting some alone time there. So it's a decent, off the path story. And there's a great scene where the killer turns out to be a lady, but Avon has no compunction. As she's tried to kill Avon, so he punches her, knocks her out, and he goes, "You better get her out of here. I really rather enjoyed that." There's always a great scene somewhere, even in the lesser of episodes, and it usually involves Avon. So, number 38, Star Drive, season 4, episode 4, ranking 4 stars. James Follett, the story, director David Sullivan Proudvet. And this is going to be a controversial one because a lot of people hate this episode. I don't. It's silly, yes, but it's fairly entertaining. It has some really good scenes in it at the beginning where they're trying. They get hauled by an asteroid, and Avon and Terran have to fix it, and Villa comes up with it but pretends to be drunk, so he gets out of it. It's got some really funny scenes. It's a goofy episode for sure. I mean, the space rats are goofy, but it does, deal with how they no longer have the Liberator. So all they've got is this junky Scorpio, and they've got Xenon base, so they're trying to, power up the Scorpio, get its star drive for it, get its speed going and stuff. And they have the scene with Dr. Plaxton at the end. Avon says, "Who?" Yes, it's 38. Again, like I said, I think it's more entertaining than a lot of the episodes that I had after it. So, but yeah, that great line at the end when unfortunately they have a choice. If Avon doesn't connect the star drive while Dr. Plaxton is fixing it, they're all going to die anyway, getting hit by a bolt from a Federation pursuit ship. So Avon connects it, and Data says, "But what about Dr. What are you doing?" No, Terrence says, "What are you doing?" He says, "We can outrun that boat. She's dead either way." I mean, it was a pragmatic solution, but it was still cold. But after he did it, well, at least now we can outrun them. It goes, and Data says, "But what about Dr. Plaxton?" And Avon goes, "Who?" And the camera comes in on him, and you have that ending. Originally, they wanted Paul Darrow to say, "Doctor Who?" That was true. He said that. But he said no, he wouldn't do it. He thought it was stupid. So he just says, "Who?" Cold ass Avon at work right there, boy. Number 37. Games. Still hanging around in that 4th season, but I like the 4th season. Games is a very entertaining episode. Again, it is just that. It's 4 stars. Story by Bill Lyons, directed by Vivian Cousins. It is episode 8 of season 4. And Belkov, in-game to Belkov. It's got some fun stuff that tests the skills of the characters. Again, it's just kind of a lot of these episodes in this 4th season are about them being pirates, being thieves, stealing things, doing stuff like that. And again, it's got some, as always, some lovely, entertaining bits with Servalan, although she's Commissioner Schlier. But it's again a fairly entertaining and fun episode. Right now, look, we're in that the higher we go up, the better it gets. So as far as the show is concerned, in my opinion. Agreed about the Marconians there, by the way. I actually agree with that, Max Redstone. There were some problems for sure. I'm with you there, buddy. Number 36. Deliverance. Here we are getting close to the end of season 1. 4.5 stars. Story, Terry Nation. Director, Michael E. Bryan. It is episode 12 of season 1. This is where the Liberator crew comes up. They meet Ensor, a young Ensor's son, who's trying to get some much-needed medical supplies to his father, Ensor. And he's injured. And while Gan and Jenna and go down to a planet, Avon and Villa have to go look for. Jenna gets caught on this planet anyway. Bottom line is, it's got some pretty messianic but fun stuff. Lord Avon, where Avon they find this primitive culture that Avon helps to send back on their way into space. Won't go into the story that much, but it's pretty entertaining. There's some good stuff between Avon and Cinefar. Not Cinefar. I always get her name wrong. What was her name? Megat. That's right. It was Megat. She was her name. And Cinefar was in Duel. So anyway, she looks sort of like the same lady, but just a little bit different. But a beautiful young lady in this one, worshiping Avon. Lord Avon, you're enjoying this? Probably. Max, I corrected myself, dude. That's not necessary to throw that in there, but if it makes you happy. Some of us are senile, dude. Anyway, good episode. Solid, entertaining episode. Certainly not one of the greatest, but we're not into super, super great territory yet. But next one might surprise people. It's number 35 is Gold, 4.5 stars. Season 4, episode 10. Story, Colin Davis, director, Brian Lighthill. Now, again, I guess I like this episode a lot because you got a friend from Avon's past. Some really great stuff with Sulin, who's a character that was underused, in my opinion. And it's just kind of fun. And another heist episode, but basically fun. It's kind of in some interesting turns with Villa. Villa not wanting any part of it because he doesn't trust Keeler. And one of the greatest endings of Blake 7 episode ever. And that's against some stiff competition because the fourth season, something about fourth season endings of episodes. When, of course, here they went to all that trouble to steal the black gold. And at the end, when they realized Avon was kind of taking a chance with, basically they realized that Servalan was involved. And he said, you didn't tell us Servalan was involved in this thing. And she basically says, Ava says, would it have mattered? And I love the scene with he and Terrence, when Terrence says, damn well would have mattered. Servalan's not just some greedy gangster. And Avon says, surely that is exactly what she is. She goes, Avon, you took risks with our lives, what Sulin said. And he goes, for 10 billion in cash and an outside chance of killing Servalan, which rather I hadn't. In steps Orak. It was not sensible. What is that supposed to mean? And Orak informs them that the money they stole is now no good because the Federation are taking over that planet. And he said it's worse than that, actually. Because, Terrence says, we just risked our lives for nothing. And even though Servalan's going to get rich on the black gold, in that last scene where what Sulin throws away, we risked our lives to make Servalan rich. And that's Avon just grabs the money. He's got the money flying all over him. She throws in the air. And that laugh. The Bank of Zirak. Thank you, Max. That laugh. And that look on Paul Darrow's face. God, I love some of those endings of the season 4. So fun episode. Episode 34. Going fast here. Shadow. Episode 2 of season 2, rating 4.5. Story the great Chris Boucher, director Jonathan Wright Miller. Now you might think, wow, that's low for an episode. Here we have another example of Callie being controlled again. Well, not again. This is only like the second time, maybe, but when you've seen all the episodes, they kind of blend together, and you wonder how many damn times they do it. It feels like a lot. Maybe it's probably not as many. Dreamhead. Yeah. There's some great exchanges between Blake and Avon at the beginning, when Dan is very much opposed to using the Terra Nostra, that basically the Blake 7, equivalent of the Mafia, the Space Mafia, whatever. We find out later, of course, run by the Terran president. Because they're an evil criminal organization, obviously. And someone asks Blake, he asks, what are we supposed to do if they don't help us or whatever? Anyway, and Blake says, we'll use force if necessary. And I love the line when Avon says, force. Yes, of course. Lawmakers, lawbreakers, let us fight them all. Why not? A lot of good stuff at the end when Avon says, what are these disc things? And she says, you've got to talk to them, says Caligus. That's like talking to Villa, a complete waste of time. Good episode. Not one of my favorites. I have a buddy of mine, we used to argue about this episode a lot. Again, some of the Callie stuff just gets on my nerves. I love Callie. Some of the telepathic stuff. But it's a good episode. And Avon had to actually rig up a charge in Elrak to keep him from being used again. So, number 33. Children of Aaron. 4.5 stars. Story. Roger Parks, director. Andrew Morgan. This is season 3, episode 7. This is more Callie, but in a good way. This is a pretty good story. I think actually the most compelling bit of the story is the stuff with Servalan, her trying to use the Aranor's banks, sperm banks to create her own children. But man, what are this? If you ever need an example of how evil Servalan is, she would infect a whole population with the plague just to get what she wants. She doesn't care. This is one of the most. Jacqueline Pierce. It's so sad that enough more people don't see what a brilliant performance her whole run as Servalan was, and what a great character she was, and how she can make this character, on the one hand, so obviously because she's a lovely woman, but almost irresistible, and yet she's the most devious, evil thing there is. And the dope-like Terran lets himself fall in love with her, and Avon says, Avon knew right away, Anyway, we'll talk about that later. This creature, the level of her evil is almost never quite touched upon, more so than in this episode. And it is quite a good one. We learn a little bit more about Callie. Yes, Hungry Boy. Jacqueline Pierce, she was just, oh my God. And it's funny because you see all the interviews with her. I never got a chance to meet her, but you see all these interviews with her. What a sweetheart of a woman. Everyone who's met her, and she's, of course, passed, unfortunately. But what a sweetheart of a woman she was to play that horrible, evil character. Just incredible. Number 32. The Way Back. The introductory episode, the pilot, if you will, episode 1, season 1. 5 stars. Terry Nation on the story, director Michael E. Bryan. In retrospect, in hindsight, this episode is a lot better. Now, again, you almost get nothing of the other characters. You don't get Avon yet. You get a little teensy-weensy peek at Villa and Jenna, but it's a pretty compelling setup episode to hook the viewers, to make you think. But even though it's obviously it looks. The whole series looks cheap, you know what I mean, and you're not really sure what to expect. I mean, this trial, putting this guy on, framing this guy for certain crimes just to make a political criminal. I mean, if you just watch this episode, you don't know there's no way to know what is to come. This episode does not really make you understand what the shit is. Really, it almost needs to be compiled with Spacefall, to be honest. That needs to be seen as a film. You can't just watch this episode and just get any kind of an idea what kind of show you're looking at. You really almost have to anyone you ever recommend the show to, you make sure that, look, if you're the show may or may not be for you, but you can't just watch The Way Back. You got to watch The Way Back, Spacefall, and Cygnus Alpha You could even argue Time Squad, just to get an idea of what you're looking at going forward. This is a small chunk, but still, it is a viable drama. It is an interesting story. Gareth Thomas exceeds himself with an excellent performance. Well, yeah, Spacefall is better as a pilot. At least it's part 2, or it's part of this. Absolutely, Max. I'm with you, brother. But still, it's a compelling episode. Number 31, Bounty. 5 stars. Excellent episode. President Sarkov, love his daughter. I love some of the stuff with what's his face? What was that guy's name? Tarvin. We get to see an old flame of Jenna's, or an old compatriot of Jenna's. Pretty interesting episode. Dan needs to be smarter. He kind of got him in a lot of trouble in this one. But, yeah. A lot of good stuff, including you sell your own grandmother, would you? I did. It's only fair. She was going to sell me. Terry Nation with the story, and director of this one is Pennant Roberts. And everyone also directed the Doctor Who episode, Remembrance of the Daleks. Ezra, that's good to know. I love Remembrance of the Daleks, by the way. That's a great one. Jenna had no old friends. Avon had no old friends. Yes. Number 30 is Rescue. Yeah, look, you could pick on this episode for being pretty kind of crazy, transparently ripping off the portrait of Dorian Gray. But the character of Dorian is, of course, I thought, very skillfully played by, what was the guy's name? Jeffrey Burridge. And, of course, this is the episode that follows up the tragedy of the end of the 3rd season. There was a little bit of a delay between seasons, between season 3 and 4. A lot of first appearances. It's the beginning of season 4. Directed, story by the great Chris Boucher, directed by Mary Ridge. And again, it's a 5-starer. And it shows us basically that it's to set up the beginning of the new direction for the series. It only very briefly deals with the sad, unfortunate death of Callie on Terminal, which is just, I love the show, as you know. I think, I don't know. I think I didn't want to lose Callie at all, even though I've been complaining about them using her her powers in silly ways or whatever. I did not want to lose Callie. But that's the way it goes, right? Hey, Kogi Pan, good to see you. So I love Callie. Didn't want to lose her, but I think she deserved a much better depth than just hearing her last word being telepathic blast of the word Blake. Now I know that the lovely Jan Chappell needed to leave the show, so that that's fine. Blake 7 was like that. People left the show. Killing the character, I have no problem with. I think it should have been a little bit more to it than that, but that's okay. I mean, what are you going to do? The show, it kind of got it over with. Maybe that's a good thing. First appearance, of course, of our new computer slave. Our first look at Scorpio and Xenon Base, and, of course, the gorgeous Glidness Barber as Sulin, Hubba Hubba. Wow. Again, Sulin was a wonderful character. Obviously she's gorgeous, but she didn't get used enough in that season. But whenever she did, she was really lovely and really great character. So I love you, Sulin. And I love Glidness Barber. She's still active on Twitter. Callie's death was a bit square bob sponge pants, was it? I don't know what that means, sir. So again, the Rescue is a pretty good start to the season. Like I said, has a very hokey ending with the story of Dorian being Dorian Gray, but again, still well played by, it can't be, but Fine performance by Jeffrey Burridge. So it is a good episode and a good way to start season 4. Number 29 is Voice from the Past. I have it at a rating of 5 stars. It was episode 10 of season 2. Roger Parks does the story. Director George Spenton Foster. Some really good, interesting points in the episode. It was kind of fun. The take of let's see, where were I? Sorry, I lost my screen screwed up. Give me a second there, buddy. Yeah. Okay, sorry. Anyway, the turn, the whole Travis masquerading as Siobhan. The guy playing Vin Glenn, of course, who was the guy that basically set up Blake's show trial in the way back, played by a different actor. And this one played skillfully by Richard Bebb, but again, I don't know why they changed actors, but they did that sort of thing a lot back then. So it's a pretty interesting story, Blake being controlled at long distance, but it's mostly just good for some of the Travis and Servalan stuff. But Servalan at the end, again, more super evil from Servalan at the end of this thing. She's just so ruthless and stuff. Even though at this point he and Servalan aren't supposedly on the same team, they kind of work together a little bit again. So Voices number 40. Gotcha, Max. There you go. We're not too far off with some of these, buddy. Number 28. Redemption. First episode of the second season, where we learn the origin of the Liberator. We learn about the system. We learn about the Borg. I mean, the system. I mean, the Borg. Our first time that Orak's voice is basically Peter Tuddenham instead of the guy that played Enzor in the previous episode. So, rating 5 stars. Story Terry Nation, director Veer Lorimer. A pretty solid episode of a nice explanation of where the Liberator comes from, which we needed. We needed something. I mean, if you don't think about it so much now, but at that time, if you were watching the show from the beginning, you're wondering how did these, where did this ship come from out of nowhere? We're going to need an explanation, and they delivered on one, and it's a pretty good one. It's pretty interesting, although there could have been more about it. I mean, about why the system would have a ship like the Liberator, and what were they doing with it? I mean, in that, all those rooms with jewels and clothes and all that crap. Why? Why did it have that? Why was all that stuff on board the Liberator? One would like to know. They didn't, even in this episode, they don't explain that, other than you just have to draw your own conclusions, I suppose, that the system, why'd they have like humanoid-looking beings that are actually Borg? Maybe they're going around to other planets doing things incognito. So I don't know why they're stealing jewels. I don't know. I don't know why the system had the Liberator. I don't know. We'll never know who the Liberator was fighting. And when they found it in Spacefall, I guess. Indeed, Max. Which is okay. This is at least some sort of explanation. Sheila Ruskin was cute. You're not going to get an argument from me on that one. I've seen her. I know I've seen her in something else too. So, but again, it's a decent look. It is a very good explanation of where the Liberator came from. So that's cool, and I'm good with that. Number 27. Duel. A rating of 5.5 stars. Terry Nation story director Douglas Camfield. It is, of course, episode 8 of season 1. And you can say what you want about it being a ripoff of Arena, just as, while Blake 7 is the antithesis of Star Trek. I don't mind it. They did such a great job. This is their own take on the story of Arena. But it has a lot more to do with the character interacting, the character problems that go forth with Travis and the proper Travis, as Hunger Boy calls him, Travis and Blake. Isla Blair, as it was, that lady Cinephore was amazing. Carol Royal or whatever her name was, for the mutoid woman, was beyond belief gorgeous. Oh my God. Oh, is that Julian Glover's wife? No kidding, Max Redstone. I did not know that. Wow, that is wild, weird stuff. Wow, that's incredible. Yeah. So anyway, it's a great episode. And again, great moments. Avon basically says, I'm going to go get some rest. And I basically, how can you sleep at a time like this? At a time like what? Blake is sitting up in a tree and Travis is sitting up in a tree. Unless they're planning to throw nuts at one another, I don't see much of a fight evolving. You ever cared for anyone except yourself? You never get involved. But Gan, of course, started with it. You never are involved, Avon. You ever cared for anyone? And Villa said, except yourself? I've never understood why it should be necessary to become irrational to prove that you care, or why it should be necessary to prove it at all. Well, that's an insult. I missed something. And then Callie says, you missed something. Always great to have an Avon exchange there. Pretty good episode. Top-notch stuff. Number 26. Horizon. I wish I had that clip that Mark D uses from this episode. One of the classic bumper sticker lines for Avon of them all. Claude Parrish is here. What's up, Metimus? I already told that story. I know you come in with idiocy in the chat like that while I'm trying to do some business here, but I told that story at the beginning of the show. If it makes you happy, all of it. I was upfront about it. So just make it. So everyone, Claude, and I even letting them know how right you were, okay? So you've been vindicated. Horizon, rating at 5.5 stars. Story, Alan Pryor. Director, Jonathan Wright Miller, I should say. I will definitely suck things. It's better than sucking Hulks, isn't it? So, season 2, episode 4. And I've seen this on a bumper sticker, by the way. Now, I am not expendable, I am not stupid, and I'm not going. This was one of those episodes where it got curious toward the beginning, where we find out that Blake, every now and then when he can, he takes Jenna with him just to make sure Avon doesn't have a top pilot with him, because he says he plays the percentages, but he could run, but he probably won it without a pilot. So he was, Blake wasn't sure. He was, but he wasn't. And Avon, the stuff with Avon and Orak throughout this episode, where he's trying to decide whether he needs the rest of the crew or not, because they all went down there and got their asses caught like idiots like that. And what I really loved was when it came to the point when he realized, he laughed his ass off when he realized he needs their help. And he just goes down there, boom, 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 and gets them all out of there just like that, like it's nothing to it. I love it. Avon is the best because Avon lives. There you go, Claude. Hunger Boy said Claude was right. Max Redstone, you were correct, sir. Avon does need people. And now, my folks, we're in the top 25. We're going to go number 25. Assassin, that is. This is one of the greater episodes in the 4th season, in my opinion. Fun, great, all kind of great character interaction. some Primo Servalan as always. Richard Herndl is in it. What else? It was kind of I don't know. You could probably say it was a bit of maybe a kind of a campy performance by what was that lady's name? Caroline Holdaway or whatever I think it was, who played of course Peary, and we find out later she's Tensa. But it was a really nice twist, nice plot. I got this one at 6 stars, folks. I really like this episode. Story Rod Beecham, directed by David Sullivan Proudfoot. That's true. Even Avon needs people. Yeah, absolutely. Thomas Canfield also directed the Doctor episode The Seeds of Doom and co-directed the Doctor episode Inferno. Well, two of the great ones. Thank you, Ezra. I did not know that, sir. Appreciate you. That's I'm not really good at knowing who directed everything or not, but I know a lot of the same people who worked for Doctor Who production worked for like 7, of course. So anyway, it was season 4's 7th episode, and it's a goodie. Utilize it to cancer. The stuff with Avon gets himself caught at the beginning. A lot of the interactions between the crew when they're on Cancer's ship, of course. Great stuff. Poor Dana misses a chance to kill Serverland again. Oh, no. We're close on that one, Max. You got it at 27. Yeah. Great, fun episode. I should have put a picture of Sula on there since she was prominent in the episode. Tell that blonde bitch. What she calls that blonde bitch. Yeah. So cool stuff. Silly looking spider thingy or crab thingy, whatever the hell he was. But still, great episode. We're in the 6s now, folks, and 7 pluses of the high rating. So we're up into some. 20, and that's not just 25. So you know how great this show was. How the majority of them are good to great episodes, and to me, we're already in the great ones. To me, this is where we're starting truly the great ones there, I think, in my opinion. Number 24, Hostage. Great episode. 6 stars. It is episode 8 of season 2. Story, Alan Pryor. Director, Vera Larimore. We learned a little bit about Blake's past. His uncle, although kind of weird that he was kind of had something going on with his cousin, but I don't know if that's I'm not going to go there. You can make a case that it was a little kind of strange that Travis would think that they would believe anything he says, that they would come. But he knew Blake wouldn't be able to resist coming to save the girl. Him pretending that they needed to work together and stuff. That was just he knew that Blake wouldn't buy into it. I guess he was probably doing that for the girl's benefit, hearing that or whatever. I don't know. And you believed him. How would I know he's changed his mind? Great stuff between both Avon, Blake, and Villa. A lot of good interaction there between them. And, of course, Max's favorite scene of all time. The word. I like seeing the Crimo get his ass blown away, too, by the girls. Great scene with Ava, with Callie and Jenna when they get to take the Crimo out. So I also enjoyed the little scene they had with Servalan, with Councillor Joban, played by the great Kevin Studi. Yeah. Max Redstone says Hostage is his number 1. It has everything that makes Blake 7 an episode great, including Andrew Robertson, Mr. Fibuli. Yeah, he is in that, isn't he? As the space commander. Well, look, I remember 7 is my highest rating, 7 pluses. So I got it at 6 stars. Yes, it's a 24 there, Max, but anything at a 6 means I love it. So I love the episode. That's how much I love this show in general. I mean, it's tough to prioritize any of them. So I respected it being your number 1. It's a great episode. I mean, this absolutely. So Absolutely, totally respect that, buddy. And like I said, that's a high rating. So let's see here. Number 23. Time Squad. Rating 6 stars. It is season 1, episode 4. Story by Terry Nation, a director, Pennant Roberts. And our first appearance of Callie. It's coming in right after Cygnus Alpha, setting up, giving us a new character. It had a side story about these. Again, a pretty interesting science fiction concept. This side story about these shake and bake assassins that get created in this ship. But high points are, of course, Callie being introduced. Of course, this is when Callie was a Klingon, by the way, and some of the stuff, some of the fun interactions with both her and Blake and Avon and Villa and stuff like that. But again, you also have the side adventure story with Jenna and Gan. So very solid, excellent episode. Number 22. Headhunter. 6 stars. It is season 4, episode 6. Story by Roger Parks, director Mary Ridge. Top quality, great, just a brilliant science fiction story in every sense of the word. Could arguably be higher than this. Great stuff with Avon and Sulin, and of course Aurak and the Aurak and Sulin and stuff is really great. Mullah's android is a brilliant concept. The whole concept of joining Aurak with the circuit influencer android is just amazing. It's just this is a brilliant episode. Again, the elegance of Avon at the end. I just love it. Again, it's one of the just most entertaining, great episodes of Blake 7. We're getting to the stuff the episodes are really excited about now. Number 21, Breakdown. Julian Glover time here, folks. Episode 10 of season 1. It's a rating of 6.5 stars. Terry Nation, director Vera Lorimar. Poor old Gan, his limiter implant inside his head is malfunctioning and he's getting violent. And he is not easy to handle. So there's trouble on board the Liberator, and they find, he tries to kill everybody, and they find out that, we better get him somewhere, and the only place they find that eventually that they can bring him to is a station called XK-72, but it's across this really vast and unknown, uncharted area of space that Zen refuses to go to. Zen will not obey their orders. He will not give them computer control because he says the order reduces to to self-destruct. Zen is reacting on information or warnings of data, saying that if he goes across that zone of space, the quicker route, he will be the ship will be destroyed, and he won't do it. And so that creates a big time dilemma. Blake, much against Avon's wishes, decides to go across that section of space anyway. And they barely make it through, but they finally do. And there's this great scene where Avon tells Blake when they get across it and they're nearing XK-72, when he says, before they got to XK-72, when they looked like they were about to be destroyed, he says, in the unlikely event that we survive this, Blake, I'm finished. Remaining with you requires a level of stupidity of which I no longer feel myself capable. Blake with the great comeback says, now you're just being modest. Probably, what's up, buddy? We got a tie. Max Redstone also ranked Breakdown at number 21 for him. Good to see their problem being, by the way, Always a pleasure, Probby. So, yes, this is a terrific episode. Again, a great performance of a nasty guy by the great Julian Glover. There's again, other sequences of note is when he's threatening the surgeon who's supposed to be operating on Gan. He says, how long can you complete? 40 minutes. Because do it in 20. Or you will kill me. No. In 25 minutes, in 15 minutes. No, it wasn't. I'm 25 minutes. I'm sending you back to your ship. To your station. Your threats don't instantly release you now. If you haven't completed by then, and then he says, your threats don't instantly release you now. He goes, I shall destroy your hands. Oh, Julian Glover's fantastic. Julian Glover has been in Doctor Who multiple times, Blake 7, Empire Strikes Back, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, For Your Eyes Only, the James Bond film, and God knows how many other great geek stuff. Guy was fantastic. Love him, and this is a great episode. Number 20. Seek, Locate, Destroy. At 6.5 stars. Episode 6 of Season 1. Story Terry Nation, who wrote them all in Season 1. Director Vera Lorimore. The beginnings of Travis and Servalan. Yes, the introduction. I mean, how do you not rate high a great episode like that gives you not only Servalan and Travis, but a great story where, unfortunately, Callie gets left behind at this station or at this base that they've attacked. And this was when things really start getting fleshed out for the series. And as Hungry Boy likes to keep calling him the proper Travis. Look, hey, Crimson Ghost. Hello there. Good to see you. Hungry Boy, I got used to. I actually warmed up to Brian Croucher in the second season now. I love Stephen Greif. He's my favorite. But I think toward the end of season 2, I was fine with Boucher. Look, I would have loved it to be Stephen Greif. He's fantastic, by the way. And I also understand from people that Brian Croucher's an awesome dude, really nice guy. That goes a long way with me. He's really good with his fans, from what I understand. But I do love Greif. This is a brilliant episode because of just a phenomenal introduction to these two wonderful characters, especially Servalan. Oh, my God. Jacqueline Pierce, I love you. Max says that Stephen Greif could not have done the psychotic Travis of Series B. You think? I don't know. I would have to think about that. I don't know if I'm sure I don't. I'm not saying I disagree. I don't know. He's a great actor. They were a bit different. We used to jokingly call the season 2 Travis Elvis. Oh, I'm gonna kill Blake Moore. Oh. No, he is a bit mustache twirly. I hear you there, Hungry Boy. Anyway, this is a great episode. We find out a little bit more about Blake's. Again, it has it all. We find out a little bit more about Blake's background and how what happened to him, what got him into this. Obviously about Travis and man, oh man, what an introduction to the wonderful Servalan. So thoroughly one of the top ones, 6.5, like I said. So number 19, Project Avalon. Glidness Barber as a mutoid many years before she became Sulan. Servalan. Well, I'm just all over the crap. Just one of my favorite all-time exchanges between Avon and Blake, by the way, when Avon's giving him a report of what's going on that planet down there, that icy planet. And he says, "Oh dear." He asks, and he asks, "Does it support any intelligent life?" And Avon quips, "Does the Liberator?" I love it. The ending of this episode with Shimmer says probably, if you mean Project Avalon, I mean, both of them, the one before that as well, but Project Avalon was, no question about it. Love it. Here we go with the bots. Oh, come on, bots. Starting on us early tonight. Thank you, whoever got that one. Anyway, ranking 6.5 stars. It is episode 9 of season 1. Terry Nation with the story director, Michael E. Bryant. Brilliant story, especially what Blake does at the end with the Avalon android. What was that? Charming lady playing Avalon was Julia Vidler, I believe. Yeah. So, again, good to see Glidness Barbara, although she was a mutoid in this one. This is just the top. Oh, I got you, probably. Yeah. Oh, you got that? Thank you, probably. Appreciate that. Yeah, it's you had all be very careful about what you say and do. Yeah. Just a great ending, like you said. Love it. Love Project Avalon. Great stuff. Let me see here. Number 18. Spacefall. 6.5 stars. It is episode 2. And story Terry Nation director Pennant Roberts. Arguably the most important episode of the series because it's the beginning of Avon, folks. First appearance of Avon. First appearance of Gan. We get to see the guy who asked the impudent question. Sir, we've analyzed their attack. Sir, and there is a danger. Should I have your ship standing by? Evacuate? In a moment of triumph? I think you have read us to make their chances. That's right. Sub-Commander Raker, the evil little bastard, was the guy in Star Wars that said that to Grand Moff Tarkin. Just saying. He's also been on a lot of Doctor Who. Let's see, what was it? Dude's name was Lordy. Yeah, that's right. Leslie Schofield was his name. Raker was a cool badass, though. A great, just a nasty. What a shit that guy was. Great interactions between Blake and Avon. Gan is a sheer delight in this episode, especially when he grabs the Federation guard's hand and says, look, we only need the hand. If you want to stay attached to it, do as you're told. A Villa, of course, a lot of fun. So many great bits, so many, just a wonderful, wonderful episode. Could arguably be higher. It was truly, it should be connected to the way back. So you get all the setup of the way back and then go right into this. You couldn't do better. Because remember, after this, you get Cygnus Alpha, which is a little more held back. Spacefall is one of the greats. Number 17, Death Watch. Again, a brilliant episode that you could argue for being higher, really. Rating, I have it at 6.5. Season 3, episode 12. Chris Boucher, the great Chris Boucher, of course, director Gerald Blake. I love. I mean, you can, if you want to say it's hokey to have Stephen Pacey play his own big brother, I don't care. I still love it. Some would say that. Not me. I'm just saying. But it's truly a great performance by Stephen Pacey. Yes, the guy got foamed to death. That was a damn shame. Their problem being, probably that's for sure. But yes, great performance, dual performance by Stephen Pacey. One of the another classic Avon scene. I always point those out from the episodes. Your plan had better be fireproof, Servalan, or I will see you burn with it. What a great scene. Dana and Green, yes. Dana was yummy, wasn't she? Yeah, I love her. You know, I've heard things. I hope it's not true, but I think I've heard someone told me that Josetti Simon has nothing to do with the fandom, or even admitting she was on Blake 7. I hope that's not true. Dita Tarrant, is dead. Gerald Blake 7. Yes, he's directed a few of them. Do Dieter Tarrant twirls mustache? I didn't see him that way. You'd have to explain that one to me, Maxer. So again, I always love this episode. Just one of the greats. Just thoroughly enjoyable through and through. Arguably higher. 6.5 for sure, though. Number 16. Orbit. Another one that you could argue for higher, but there's so many great ones. Where are you going to put them? 6.5 stars, in my humble opinion. Episode 11 of season 4. Written by the great Robert Holmes, of course, one of the great Doctor Who writers. Director Brian Lighthill. It's chilling to this day. Villa weighs 73 kilos, Avon. I love all the stuff with the Agrorian and Pinter. Agrorian and Servalan, those scenes are great. And the Avon Villa stuff, and even the Avon. Where do you start? There's so many wonderful, great scenes. This episode, again, you have Orbit at 12. I can respect that, Max. Orbit's fantastic. It's just a brilliant episode, start to finish. It's brutal. I have argued when people say, but something was wrong. Why was Avon acting so weird when he was saying, Villa, come out? When he was all acting nice to try to get Villa to come out, which was a dead giveaway. I mean, it's one thing if he said, Villa, get your ass down here. He didn't do that. Of course, Villa heard Aurak say, Villa weighs 73 kilos, Avon. But still, he wasn't acting like himself when he said, Villa, please help me. I think that was psychological. No, Phantom Outsider. That's cute and all, but no, not all. They're tied. Sure, whatever. I wanted to rank the episodes, but if you got to get pedantic about it, do I love episode 16 that much more than 17? No. You think you're just overthinking it a little bit there, dude. But sure, I'll get rid of the ranking if I tell you what, you ignore the ranking if it makes you feel better. I just wanted to rank them. But no, episode 12 is not that much better than episode 17. To me, anyway. I love them both. So I love them equally, but I'm putting them in a rank. The rank means nothing to anyone but me, but I have to have some rank so I can talk about them in a certain order. But yeah. But have it your way. Whatever makes you happy around here is good for me. Yeah, when Avon smiles with Villa, come out. Villa, please help me. Love it and love Agrorian. Episode 15, Aurak. Oh my goodness. The beginning of Aurak. A new power added to the Liberator power. This is 6.5 stars. Season 1, episode 13. Terry Nation, of course, is the writer. Michael E. Bryant and Veer Lorimer shared director's duties on this one. No, I hear what I know. I get you, Phantom Outsider, but I never really, to be honest with you, put any kind of thought into that. I just decided to put them in, just rank them for the hell of it, man. So, I don't know. Everybody's a critic, including me. So what am I saying? Aurak, great episode. Some marvelous moments, especially between the crew. A lot of stuff with I like Insor. Insor was a great character to see. Played by who played him? Derek Farr played Insar. I know I'd seen that guy in something else. And of course, sad for you all that it was the last of the proper Travis. What can I tell you? But a great episode, and by the end, of course, one of the standout scene which was ripped off later, by the way, from another show when he shoots when Travis is about to shoot Blake and gets his hand shot off by Avon. He goes, "Good shot, Avon. I was aiming for his head," which they stole for an episode of Firefly. By the way, they did the same thing on an episode, which had to be an homage. One would think, wouldn't one? Number 14, Power Play. The third in what I like to call the Star One trilogy. The third, because of course there's Star One, there's Aftermath, there's Power Play. I give it 7. This is the beginning of this. We're in 7 territory now, folks. We're only at 14 and we're in 7 territory. I love it. I love this episode. It's finished, like I say, it's like it is a third chapter. It's getting us started. It's episode 2 of season 3. Terry Nation wrote it. Director David Maloney, of course. But it finishes up the aftermath, although aftermath was before it, if you know what I'm saying, of what went on toward the end of season. At the end of season 2, it's a new beginning, introduction to the character of Del Tarrant. Get some fun scenes between Servalan and Callie, Servalan and Villa. Some great. Just Avon, man. Oh God, truly making the show his own. This is my ship. Showing leadership capabilities, just again, really proving that Paul Darrow's definitely worthy to carry this show. Yes, he needs a cast like anyone else does. And at that time, if you were watching it for the first time, you're going, "Hey, when it's called Blake 7, where the hell's Blake?" And I could only wonder if you knew back then, if people who were watching the show, I guess they probably read somewhere. I'm sure the press had something to tell people, like Gareth Thomas has left the show, but it's still called Blake 7. Okay. I don't know how it went back then. I know there was no, obviously not much of a fandom outlet for internet or that kind of sort of thing. So what can you do? Number 13, Killer. A killer episode at 7 stars. The great Robert Holmes writing again. With director Vera Lorimar. This was episode 7 of season 2. It had an appearance by excuse me. What was his name? Ron. Was it Ron? Yeah, Ron Lacey as Tynus, who was in Raiders of the Lost Ark, by the way, as Tot. It's just oh my goodness. Robert Holmes was so great at writing the Avon Villa stuff. Is out of this world. It was, again, it had a pretty good B plot. I mean, the interesting thing about the derelict spaceship, it was a great science fiction idea about the plague generated by aliens to keep humans on their own planet. Dr. Belfry, good character stuff there. Again, equally good stuff going on with Blake. To make a perfect balance of an episode, to have 2 different things going on. And unlike the clutter that usually happens when you try to have a B plot, like a Star Trek The Next Generation, like they used to screw it up so many times, it's very well done here. Because Robert Holmes, of course, was one of the great Doctor Who writers, in addition to being a great writer on Blake 7, which he didn't write as much as Doctor Who, but he still did some. So this episode is thoroughly entertaining, brilliant in every single way. And again, the highlight, though, is Paul Darrow and Michael Keating. What a great pairing Avon and Villa are. Oh, God. Which is why this episode is just so high up there. It's just brilliant. Number 12. Gambit. One that you could argue for go higher, really. 7 stars. It is episode 11 of season 2. Another one by the great Robert Holmes, directed by George Spenton Foster. What can you say? Hilarious. It has a multiple story thing going through it again. I love this episode so much. It's tough to keep it out of my top 10, but there's so many. I just adore it all the way through. So quotable, so much fun. You got stuff with Ava. Again, Robert Holmes must have had a thing about Avid and Villa because he did such great stuff with them. This is right up there with Killer for all the great stuff that he does with the characters. Yes, Villa, this gallant sporting gentleman, has agreed to challenge the Knut at speed chess. That scene with Avon throwing up blowing chunks when that announcement is made is worth. It's priceless, is what it is. I remember I used to back up the recorder and watch it over and over again, laugh my ass off. That reaction by Avon, oh good lord! And again, just the silly fact that Orak can reduce himself like that just for the hell of it. I don't give it. I mean, couldn't he have just easily relayed his instructions from the ship? But I don't care. It was still hilarious. Who cares? It's funny. Are you seriously trying to tell me that you could, for example, reduce your size without affecting your function? Yes. Talks cheap. Does that mean something? It means he doesn't believe you. Neither, as a matter of fact, do I. I take it you should like me to prove it. Why not? Just shrank himself. He had PIM particles all of a sudden. It was fantastic, and I don't care. I love it. Oh, some cool stuff with Travis, some wonderful stuff with curious, weird, but wonderful stuff between Servalan and Krantar, and Jerriere, her weird Marty Feldman looking stooge that she had with her. And of course, we got a little Deep Roy in there. Yes. What happened, Krantar? You blew it. And it was even Mardi Gras on Freedom City. You know, if it was a barren waste, desert down there, so hot your eyes frizzled. Poisonous snakes under every rock. Blake would have sent us. You could bet on it. Bet. Why not? It's perfect. I just love the fact that even in villages, here's Blake. He's doing this, trying to fight to save the galaxy. He's got this serious mission, and Avon and Villa just say, "Screw it, let's go break a casino." I love the combination of those two stories. This episode is fantastic in every single way. It's just beautiful. And we're only at number 12, and that's how I feel about this show. That's why I'm going to talk longer about the higher we get, because I just love these episodes so much. And yes, Deep Roy was the homunculus in the talons of Wing Chang when Wing Chang said, "Let the talons of Wing Chang shred your flesh." I toned it down a little bit, sorry. So, number 11. City at the Edge of the World. My God. 7 stars plus. Put a little plus by it because I love it so much. Season 3, episode 6. Story, Chris Boucher. Director George Spenton Foster. The great Colin Baker. What a performance as Babin the Butcher. Valentin Dial's in it look, and great characters like Carol as well. This episode could arguably be higher. It's, again, one of those that has just everything in it. Some of the most wonderful character stuff. And Michael Keating has talked about how it's his favorite episode because Villa finally got to be the hero. They finally gave something so his kids wouldn't get picked on so much. City's number 10 for you, Max? Cool. Good God, this episode's brilliant. Highly entertaining. A fascinating science fiction story undertone. I cannot rave enough about this episode. I've watched it so many times. Babin the Butcher. You're Babin the Butcher. Oh, you're number 2 of the Federation's most wanted list. After Blake. What do you mean after Blake? I was working my way up that list before he crept out of his creche. Working my way up. I didn't take any political shortcuts. Great episode. Colin is absolutely magnificent as Babin. Seeing Valentine there. I love Villa getting a relationship again in a fun way. Again, he never had one before. I'm saying him getting a girlfriend and then losing her to another planet 3,000 light years away. Sad stuff. He should have went with her. I love it at the end when he says, "I think I've just made the worst mistake of my life." I doubt it. I believe there are far greater mistakes to be made by someone with your obvious capacity for them. Shut up, Borak. Still, it's a comforting thought. Let's hope they all have good legs. Just fun all the way through. Just absolutely, for such a show that's so, Blake 7 is such a downer, based on so many downer concepts. It can be really fun. Poor old Villa, though. Love it. Yeah, Villa, you screwed up there, partner. Here we are. You're now in the top 10. The top 10 pressure point. Terry Nation, director George Spetton Foster. This is a 7 stars plus affair. This is episode 2, season 5 of episode 2. This is serious business. We went for an unbelievably fun episode, like sitting on the edge of the world, for a severely painful episode, but in a brilliant way. This episode is a masterpiece. My God, Gan, I'm crying. I'm the only Blake 7 actor I've ever gotten to meet was the great David Jackson. He was a wonderful, nice man. God, Gan, no. I've done it. I found it. I love the scene where there's this fantastic scene where Blake finally gets into the central control, or he thinks he has, and he's, I've done it. I made it. And then there's nothing there. Blake, there's nothing here. And he's, what's his face? Travis comes in laughing. It was all a lie. And of course, the way he's he's falling down and grabbing onto Avon. He's just had it. There's also a great scene toward the beginning. You have a lot of great scenes in this episode. Great scene toward the beginning with Avon and Blake talking about, come on, Avon, you going to go with me or not? Well, of course. I don't see how you could do it without me. Your biggest problem will be the central computers. I'm the only one competent to tackle them. Yes, I thought of that. So you want to tell me why? I like the challenge. You don't want to tell me why. Well, with you running the campaign on Earth, someone will have to take charge of all this. Basically, I want the Liberator. Because you want the Liberator. That was that conversation about wanting the Liberator. The stuff with Servalan and her former mentor, teacher, now nemesis, Kasabi, was beautiful and brilliant and scary. We find out just what a horrible monster Servalan really is. But Kasabi, that scene where she's dying and she says, I'm sorry, Servalan. She apologizes to her. Maybe she should have been able to work with her, to help her. Maybe she thought if she'd known what a sick person Servalan really is. And again, the death of Gan, my God. You feel it big time, and they don't make again they're not quite as brisk about it as they were with Callie's death, but it just says, Gan dies, he has to get out of there, and he says, where's Gan? Gan's dead. Boom, that's it. Of course, the next episode in Trials dealt with, but wow, this episode has it all. It's absolutely Blake 7 at its finest, which again, so as the previous episode. I mean, Phantom's not wrong when you say these episodes are all, ranking them doesn't mean a whole lot. I'm doing them so I could talk about them that way. Episode 10, is it that much greater than episode 11 or 12? Of course not. But the higher we get we get to more to talk about for sure. Furry Kitten, hello there. Villa was the tits? Well, good to see you, Furry Kitten. I can't believe I read that. Oh, wow. So yeah, we're in the top 10s now, folks. And these episodes just getting more and more amazing. Number 9, Weapon. What a now again, it does start out with I never was super fond of the whole scene with the clone masters, but I understood why they made them. I just thought that scene was a little bit hokey with the music. Nevertheless, well, it's good to see you here, Furry Kitten. I appreciate you being here. This episode is brilliant. It has an unbelievably brilliant concept, great characters, great character moments. Chris Boucher, of course, on the story. This is a 7 stars plus again. When we get into this high up, it's in the stratosphere. It is episode 3 of season 2. Chris Boucher on the story, director George Spetton Foster. But I love this episode so much. I think a lot of it I love the idea of Emmy Pack. The exchanges between Carnell and Servalan are just top notch. This is it's weird. It's almost a Servalan episode in some ways. It's not really entirely, but there's a lot of great stuff with her, and even with Travis. And the character Kozar is wackadoodle. I love the chick. You can switch this around with Pressure Point. You could easily put it ahead of it. Their Pressure Point probably is better in some ways. I don't know why I have such a reaction, but this is a great story, in my opinion. And the lovely lady was Candace Glendinning or something, I believe it was. Beautiful. Hey, Joe's Atmosphere. Good to see you. Well, thanks for popping in. I always appreciate you. But I just absolutely think this episode is terrific. Great stuff. And Chris Boucher, actually, who also wrote The Robots of Death for Doctor Who. I've mentioned this before, but I may as well mention the tie-in again. In the late 90s, he wrote a novel that was one of those British BBC novels. There was a tie-in there was a Doctor Who book. There was a sequel to Robots of Death called Corpse Marker, and in that story, he put the character of Carnell from this episode. Carnell was played by, I think, Scott Fredericks. And I think that's what his name was. And again, he put that character in that book, strangely enough. So, anyway, love this episode. Well, I love them all, obviously. This high up. Number 8. Aftermath. Aftermath comes science and history and phys ed, whatever. Terry Nation on the story, director Vera Larimore. This is a 7-star plus 2. How do you follow up star 1? How do you get close to it? But man, this has it all. Avon and Servalan. That alone, just the Avon and Servalan and stuff, makes this episode, it just puts it into the stratosphere of greatness. I just love it. I mean, what a great follow-up. Indeed, Furry Kitten, yes, it does. It does have Tarrant pop up at the end. Summary execution is repeatedly for illegally boarding a Federation ship, vessel, whatever. What are you doing on my ship? I got your ship, which they changed in Power Play. Anyway, the beginnings of Dana Mellenby, which was she was a great character. We got to meet the sad ending of Hal Mellenby, and of course they didn't pay much attention to it, but Lauren or whatever, her sister, man, damn it, that was. What was it? I think it was Lauren. Yeah, was her sister that gets killed by the Sarin. What can I say? What can you say? Anyone who's seen this episode knows it's the first episode of season 3, and it has a job to do. It opens up the Liberators under siege because of the battle that happened at the end, started at the end of Star 1. They all get sent out in escape pods, so they apparently go all over the damn galaxy. And Avon has to go down unconscious, but he's got an Aurak with him. And he ends up on the planet Sarin. And wackiness ensues, but I cannot stress enough. Jacqueline Pierce is just so terrific in this episode. I love the interactions between her and Paul Darrow. Just fantastic stuff. Great episode. And a classic moment when she's trying to convince Avon to join her. She's just basically telling the imagination our only limit and all that stuff. And he just grabs her after he kisses her, of course, and then grabs her by the neck and throws her to the ground. Imagination, my only limit. I'd be dead in a week. Oh my goodness. So, number 7 on the list, in the top 7 now, Blake 7, The Harvest of Kairos. I don't know if this episode is as popular with as many people as it is me, but I adore it. I think it is a masterpiece. I love the character of Vin Jarvik. I love all the stuff with Avon being so obsessed with the Saffron Rock. I love Jarvik and Servalan stuff is out of this universe. Great, entertaining stuff. It's just in every single way. All the characters get a lot to do. They're all brilliant. It's I don't think I have it too high, but I've heard some people don't like it that much. I don't know. Everything about this episode to me is thorough, just a joy. It's a joy to watch. Woman, you're beautiful. The stuff between, again, this guy, by the way, what a performance. I mean, the guy's name, Andrew Burt, who has been on Doctor Who, has been on a lot of stuff, of course. Look at a lot of those guys. Is just sensational. And then in proper, the monsters not so much. The the monster thing he's looked pretty bad. And you know what? That's another reason why the episode's so great, because they make you not care about that. But in typical Blake 7 fashion, it gives you something amazing. Somebody you think, man, you just, and this is we go back to the episode Aftermath for a second. In Aftermath, you had two at the beginning of it, you had two Federation officers land on the planet. They talk for 3 seconds. You get to know them. You feel sorry for them almost. Then they get killed, slaughtered by the Sarans. One of them played by Richard Franklin, Mike Yates from old Doctor Who, by the way. And that's how great the show is. They can introduce you to a character and then take them away, and you'll feel it. Well, Jarvik is such a great character. Yes, I love that line for a kid. About that vile, primitive display I was subjected to earlier. I should like you to do it again. That was, I love Servalan so much. That was such a great scene. This episode is fantastic, and I apologize to no one for having it so high. Story by Ben Steed, directed by Gerald Blake. Fittingly. Just a phenomenal, fantastic episode. Yeah, good one. Max Redstone says Jarvik is a brilliant character. He's Travis with sexuality. Furry Kitten says Ben Steed playing about with concepts of female domination. Who guessed? I don't know much about Ben Steed. I know he's written a few episodes, but Furry, I'd be interested in hearing what you know about him, because it sounds like you must know. I don't know. I must admit much about the fellow. So, but still, I see by that you might know some things there. So, which is interesting. Definitely interesting to me as someone who loves Blake 7. So, number 6. You are number 6. Terminal. Whoa, my God, Terminal. 7 stars plus 2 pluses. Season 3's final episode 13. Story, Terry Nation director Mary Ridge. She seemed to like to direct last episodes of stuff. My God, this episode, again, another one that just from start to finish, I love it so much. And you think I wouldn't, because it's so destructive. I mean, goodbye, beloved liberator. Avon's such a dick. Avon's such an a-hole. I love it. Again, that scene will always stick with me. One last thing. I don't need any of you. I needed the liberator to bring me this far, so I had no choice but to bring you along. But that's as far as you go. I don't want you with me. I don't want you following me. Understand this. Anyone who does follow me, I'll kill them. Then he's just like back to his operate. Will you, Dana? I mean, he's just. What are you going to do if Avon spots you? Duck. Yeah. Just the touch. Even look, the show's so brilliant. It made you feel the loss, not only of the liberator, but of Zen when Zen's dying, and the scene when Villa says Zen's dying. The scene between Avon and, well, we know now, fake Blake. That's true, Furry Kitten. Thank you for that point. Zen refers to himself as I for the first and only time. A really touching and great scene between Avon and the fake Blake, or the Blake he was created in his mind. A drug-induced and electronic dream. And you were my greatest ally, Avon. Because you wanted to believe it. You wanted to believe that Blake was still alive. as he said earlier, like death is something Blake and I faced on a number of occasions. I always thought his death and mine be linked in some way. Other great lines and great bits. Villa saying, incidentally, you should always be careful about getting a second-hand spacecraft. They can be very unreliable. Oh, my God. And how about that last shot? When she takes off, goes to the Liberator, says, maximum power. And they all watch it explode. Avon's just said she won. I let her take the Liberator. No, she didn't win. We all come out losers. You better watch this, Avon, and when they see the thing blow up and they're all walking off, let's go. There's a lot to do. They all walk off and they'll give Avon a look like, yeah, you screw this up. Then he walks off and he just has that smile. All that is going on. And he goes, well, she blew up on the ship and he's happy. So, a powerful episode, a great one. The Avon smile is disturbing. We're made of cardboard. Welcome. And now we're up to episode 5. Countdown. I don't know why this episode gets me so much. Of course, it is a 7 stars plus 2 pluses there. It is episode 9 of season 2. Terry Nation on the story, director Vera Lorimer. I just love it. I mean, everything about this episode is perfect for me. And they're on a mission. They're trying to find out a major called Provine on what was that thing? Planet X Bar or whatever it was. Not X Bar. God, what's the name of that episode? Anyway. X Bar is the one hostage. Get my planets mixed up sometimes, but anyway, they're trying to find Major Provine. They're looking for Star One, and yes, it does have Tom Chadbon. He's Del Grant in this, but if you watch Doctor Who, City of Albion, thank you. If you watch Doctor Who, City of Death, as Duggan, you're like, wow. I mean. You have to see this first. Thanks, Max. I got it both times. Cool, dude. Appreciate you. Exactly, probably. Oh, I didn't even look. Yeah, probably put Duggan in there before. Yeah, he's Duggan. But he's also great as Del Grant. This, of course, gives us some backstory to Avon. We find out about Avon and what has happened, what's been going on in his life. A little bit about Anna Grant. Her name was Anna Grant. That's later, of course. Some nice exchanges, but basically it's just a touching episode where, Avon we finally find out that there's some humanity to him. Oh, I love City of Death's fantastic. I love it. I even like the bit with the protectiveness of Blake, the scene where he stops Grant before they leaves us. And one more thing. If anything happens to Avon, I will come looking for you. Blake was definitely sympathetic and, of course, cares about his people. And just a taut, tense story. So well done. Number 4, folks. Trial. The aftermath, if you will, of the death of Gan. Rating 7 stars plus 2 pluses. It is, of course, season 2, episode 6. Chris Boucher on the story, directed by Derek Martinez. Wow. It's one of those two-pronged stories that just works so well. We've got the trial of Travis, which you can say what you want about Travis. This is the one where I think Brian Croucher really comes into his own. If you had any doubts about him before, even in Pressure Point when he gives that speech, about the central control. This should take care of it. The performance by Chris Boucher, Stephen Boucher in this episode is brilliant. And he sells. Hello there, J-Man. What's up, buddy? We're at number 4 right now. When you see the performance of Brian Croucher, sorry, what's wrong with me with Croucher? When you get to his performance in Trial, it's off the hook. I think he solidifies himself as Travis for me, as much as I love Stephen Greif. He's just incredible. He really does a great job. I love Trooper Parr. I love the stuff with even Thania, his counsel. I love and again, the story on the planet was pretty good too, with Blake just trying to go think, and he ends again. You had that wonderful science fiction concept of that planet with Zill. It's two-pronged. It's got a great interpersonal character drama mixed in with a great science fiction story, and it uses them both perfectly. Just the intelligence of the writers of this show. Chris Boucher was a great writer. Brian Croucher just nails it in this episode. I mean, he's the standout, but he's got some great Serverland stuff as well. And it's just absolutely terrific. And we get the return of those snakes. Burkle and Rontaine, those politicians. A pity about Samar getting killed. I assume he died with everybody else when Blake just attacked the station. So, yeah. The host stirs indeed. Number 3. Star 1. 7 stars plus 3 pluses is how much. I mean, this episode is just off the, again, I guess I'm raving about all of them now, aren't I? Season 2, episode 13. Chris Boucher, David Maloney. Bittersweet because we know it's an end coming, but man, oh man, do I love Star 1. My God. Just, it has it all. Some of the best Avon stuff ever, and that's saying something. Some Prime Blake, too. Blake is, they're all great. This episode is just incredible. I don't know where to begin with this episode, except at the beginning, with that extraordinary speech by Avon when they're arguing on the Liberator at the very beginning. When he says, I meant what I said on Goth, Avon. Before, he says, are you just going to sit there? You have led them by the nose before. And we could take Star 1. Let's get on with it. And Jenna says, very sterling. When did you become a believer? Excuse me, you're going to answer a question. Show me anyone who believes in anything, and I will show you a fool. I meant what I said on Goth, Avon. We are not going to use Star 1 to control the Federation. We are going to destroy it. I never doubted that. I never doubted your fanaticism. As far as I'm concerned, you can destroy whatever you like. You can stir up 100 revolutions. You can wade in blood up to your armpits. Oh, and you can lead the rabble to victory, whatever that might mean. When Star 1 is done, it's finished, Blake. And I want it finished. I want it over and done with. I want to be free. Callie interjects, but you are free now, Evan. He goes, I want to be free of him. As Blake says, I never realized. You really do hate me, don't you? When we have dealt with Star 1, I will bring you back to Earth, and the Liberator is mine. Agreed? And then Blake, ever the manipulator, says, agreed, assuming the others go along with it. Why should we? Yes, why should we? It's all a bit high-handed, if you ask me. Just that scene right there sets the tone. And later, when they find Star 1 and they're going down there, Jenna warning Blake, Avon, yes, watch yourself. I get the feeling things I get the feeling Blake is rushing things, not thinking things through. Blake is an idealist, Jenna. He cannot afford to think. Indeed, Probby. I love Avon. He's my second all-time favorite TV character ever. One of my all-time favorite characters in fiction. Joe's Atmosphere. Oh, thank you for the $2 super chat. You're too kind, buddy. He says, where can I watch this series, Clobby? Never seen it. It's on BritBox. I can tell you that if you have that. Or it's on Amazon, which has BritBox, which you can subscribe to. That's a lot of great British stuff. But thank you for that. You're too kind, my friend. I appreciate it. So, I love the scene where Avon, first discovers Travis after Blake and Callie go into the Star One complex, which was not marked entrance. Yes, hold it. Touch that and I'll drop you where you stand. He turns around, well, Travis. Fancy meeting you here. Put the gun down, Avon. It's too late to stop it now. Convince me. Be polite and I may let you live. Be informative and I may let you die. You'll want that after I've shot off an arm or a leg or two. Yeah, they used to all be on YouTube there, Furry, but then they took most of them off. I don't know. Maybe you're saying they're putting some back up there, but yeah. And then you have the alien invasion by the Andromedans, which was kind of reminiscent of something that happened on the original Star Trek. The Kelvins, not to be confused with stupid Kelvin garbage from Jar Jar Abrams, but the Kelvins from By Any Other Name episode were Andromedans. Supposedly their real appearances were giant slimy beings with multi-tentacles or what have you. But anyway, so Avon gets into the facility and meets Lorena, who's running around. She's the last of the humans left for the Star One people. And she messes him up so he loses Travis, but then shows him all these humans hanging up like corpses. And it's such a great line. She says, when she gets attacked and he shoots one of the aliens and it reverts back to its protoplasmic state, she goes, what are they? He goes, unfriendly, which is fortunate, really. They'd be difficult to love. Other great scene is when Travis thinks he's killed Blake, shoots him down, but then Avon gets to him, and as we know, is he dead, Avon? Is Travis dead? Turns around, bang, shoots Travis. He falls down the well. Years before the Emperor did it, I might add. He is now, he says. And then later, of course, they're going to face off against the aliens. And I love that scene where Blake is injured, but he tries to come help. He says, what are you doing here? Could you bring yourself just to trust me? Just this once? Because I thought I might be able to help. In that condition? All right, I'll go back. And then he turns around and stops Avon and says, Avon, for what it is worth, I have always trusted you from the very beginning. And you could see that Avon was touched by it, but he'd never admit it. Then he goes, I gave him my word to go, but to hold those aliens off until the rest of the forces get here. That's what I promised. Why, Avon? Why not? And then, of course, when they're about to fire, Avon, this is stupid. When did that ever stop us? And the episode ends with Avon saying, fire. Much like an episode many years later when called The Best of Both Worlds, when Riker ends his episode saying fire. Yeah. Just great, great stuff. And now for episode 2, folks. Rumors of Death. Oh, my goodness. Shrinka. This is one, again, the best episodes of Blake 7 are the most tragic, the most heartbreaking. Just, what do you say about this episode, man? So freaking good. So freaking good. Avon. It's just about revenge. Now, this was referenced in an earlier episode in the Children of Aron, where they were, they were about to go to Earth to take care of. It was an episode before this actually, to take care of this business, but they ended up getting deflected from direct. Avon. I mean, Tarrant and Villa were all for it. Callie was against it. Something inconsistent about the character of Callie. She was a Klingon at first. She had no problem with. Remember her statement, "Companions for my death," and now in this one, she's like, "Oh no, revenge is horrible" and all this kind of stuff. But I still love Callie. In this one, we find out, well, as with Countdown, where we find out about the, what went on, about what we learned about Del Grant. This is the one where we find about Anna and Avon's past with Anna Grant. Anna Grant was, his love, his one true love of his life. Played by Lorna Hellebron or something like that. I believe it was something like that. I think. You know how I'm bad with names usually, but revenge on the guy who, well, at least he thought had tortured her to death. Turned out she was alive, though. What he does to shrink her when he beam, they basically teleport down into the middle of this cave that the only way in is the way they came out. The only way out is the way they came in, by teleportation, and leaves them in there, even though it turns out he gives them a name, Bartholomew. Basically, Bartholomew killed her. By the way, I want to point out another strength of this episode is one of the strengths of this show all the way through is how to write smaller, less significant characters and make them important, make you feel it when they die. This, of course, is 7 stars and 3 pluses, by the way. Season 3, episode 8, starring Chris Boucher, directed by Fiona Cumming. I should have pointed that out. But World Made of Cardboard, good to see you, my friend. And yes, that's just what I was about to say. The two guys, the major, was it Major Greenlee and Major was Hobb or whatever they were? I can't remember. Or I can't remember their names now, but those two guys, the section leader and the major, the scenes with them. Now you would think they're just expositionary characters, but they're actually the scenes with them are important in this episode. And brilliant, because all you have to do to flesh out characters is let them have two characters having a conversation. And then if they die 5 minutes later, you feel it more. Like I said, in the episode Aftermath, when the Richard Franklin character and his subordinate landed from the Federation ship and they're talking like human beings, even though they were Federation jerks, they were kind of pansies. And then they get slaughtered by the Saren a few minutes later. That episode carried some gravitas to it. Those were two beings. They were people. If it had just been two red shirts, and I love Star Trek, just two red shirts with no personality, it's just like, two people got killed. When it's people that spoke for just a few lines for a few seconds, and they spoke like individuals, it's great writing. And you felt it more, even though they're characters that don't really mean much. These characters have a lot more of that. And these two guys are just a couple of schlubs working for the Federation. They're a couple of working stiffs in security. And then what happens to them when they finally get killed, you feel it. Because you kind of like these guys. Yes, they're jerk asses working for the corrupt Federation, but it's like Trooper Parr, another character. There's more to him than just a stormtrooper in a costume like in Star Wars, which I love. They managed to give character depth to make you think that some of the people working for the Federation are just people trying to get by that aren't. They're not. Does it make it right to work for the Federation? No, but they're just people. It's the Federation that's evil, and they're bad. They're wrong to be a part of it, but they don't see it that way. They just think they're just working staffs working stiffs just putting up with it. You feel it more. The character of Shrinker. Again, he's an evil, horrible, rotten bastard. He's written so well that he's not a caricature. And played so well by John Bryans or whatever the guy's name was. He's brilliant. And what happens to him, he's a horrible, despicable monster, as is pointed out by Tarrant with this. He's an animal, Callie. And she goes, yes, it's contagious. That, come on, Callie, you're supposed to be a Klingon. But anyway, so by the time you've spent enough time with Shrinker, Jill, my wonderful friend, Anti-Derivative Jill, good to see you, my dear. By the time you spend enough time with the character of Shrinker, and then you see what Avon does to him, on the one hand, it's poetic justice, and you love it. The other hand, you're like, whew, that's cold. What he does to Shrinker is, wow. But it's the brilliance of the writing of this show that you actually go, wow, that horrible monster, and yet what Avon does to him is messed up. He deserved it. Boy, did he deserve it. But still, just as a human being, you go, wow, what he's done to that guy is. And again, you wouldn't feel it if he just walked up to him and shot him in the face. There's a brilliance to this writing. And I love it. And I love this episode. And then you get to the end, and he finally, all this time he thought she was dead. Then she thinks, because of the kind of life they live in the Federation and in this reality, in this anti-Trek reality, in a sense, this hopeless kind of dystopia that these people do kind of survive in, she reasons that I knew that when you found out you would try to kill me, because unless you killed me first, he said. So he ends up having to kill the woman that he was trying to avenge all along when he finds out she's alive. It's beyond, it's so poetic, it's so brilliant. J-Man says rumors this is number one. Well, I respect that, man. It's brilliant beyond belief. It's just so touching and so devastating to watch. Oh yeah, I'll see you. Definitely see you there later, Jill. Absolutely. I'm with you, J-Man. It's wonderful. And now, who's ready for number one, and who will be shocked by number one? Are we ready to go with my number one? No one's going to be surprised by this, but here's the thing. I'm surprised by this. I've always been surprised. It's been my number one for a while. I'm surprised by this. Before I show you my number one, which won't be a surprise to anyone, but what I'm surprised by is, just like I've said before, I'm such a Star Trek fan, such a fan of original Star Trek, the hopefulness, the optimism and all that stuff. And I'm not a big fan of dystopian stuff that much. Nothing about me, as far as I know myself, makes a bit of sense that I love this show. It should not be a show that I love this much. Like it, yeah, maybe. But I love it. And yet this is not a hopeful show. It has a beginning, a middle, and an end. And it's not optimistic. It's not hopeful. It does. Yet it has fun episodes, great characters. It makes you laugh. It makes you cry. It does all of those things because it's what brilliant storytellers do. And yet it ends on a bad note. It ends in I should, by my own logic, I should hate this episode that is my number one. It's brutal. It's maddening. It makes you sad. It makes you cry. It makes you angry. It's horrible, and I love it. It's my number one episode, and it's titled Blake 7, and it's the last episode. Number 52 is my number one. Season 4, episode 13, number 52 overall, rating at 7++++. Chris Boucher on the story, and Mary Ridge directed it, and I love this episode. Furry Kitten, I love those episodes as well. Absolutely. And I watched, the first one I ever saw was The Way Back, J-Man, and then I didn't watch much at all. And then when I went back and gave it another shot, I watched the Blake first. Because spoilers don't bother me. I'm not saying I like to spoiler people to be mean. And sometimes I don't mind. I like, learning. I like discovering stuff. But a spoiler doesn't really bother me that much. But when I watched this one, it made me so fascinated and so blown away. I said, I got to go back and watch this again. I got to go give this show a shot. Well, this will be the most shocking and greatest ending to a TV show ever made. Agreed, probably. This is the last episode. I mean, it's sad. It's tragic. It's infuriating. There's this opening scene after they leave the Xenon base and destroy it. Mary Ridge does a fantastic job directing this episode. I hear you, Jill. Mary Ridge has this scene where they're talking about Gauda Prime. They're finally, in the previous episode, Warlord, they tried to set up a guy named Zucan to lead this and expand this anti-Federation alliance, and he turned out not to work. He was going to be a figurehead. So the conversation is now, what? We need a new figurehead. But then again, figureheads are not difficult to come by. Any idiot could be one. And on your feet, Villa, this is your big chance. Any idiot within reason, that is. So basically, he's talking about he is very popular with rebels, you see, and with rabbles. They will follow him, and he will fight to the last drop of their blood. Are you gonna stop being around the bush and telling us who you're talking about? And then Villa just looks at him with that wry smile and says, "It's Blake, isn't it? You think you found Blake?" Furry Kitty, let's see. Orbit, I had Orbit at number 16. I loved it, by the way, and that had a 6.5 rating. And Games, I had, where to put Games is down there. So Games, I like Games, okay, but Games I had at 37. Just to answer your question there. Thank you. So he's having this conversation, and they're talking about the planet Gauda Prime, which, of course, is where Su Lin grew up. And now it's been set back to legal status that, they're trying to set it back to a legal status, the Federation. And he said, "It is the day of the bounty hunter," he tells them. And he gives this speech. Avon says, "Hey there, Steve Mitchell. Good to see you there, bro. Thanks for being here. Hope you're doing better, buddy." So Avon says, and the direction by Mary Ridge is terrific and telling and weird here. He says, "It is the day of the bounty hunter. Thieves," and it shows Villa. "Killers," and it shows Su Lin and Dana. And he says, "Mercenaries," and it shows Tarrant. Then the next shot, he says, "Psychopaths," and it shows Avon when he says psychopaths are as unwelcome now as the settlers once were. Good to see you. That's 70s brother. So imagine that. I mean, the episode itself calls Avon a psychopath. He's definitely, is he a psychopath though? I don't know, but the episode called him that. The director called him that. And that's true. World Made of Cardboard, the lady that Paul Darrow, that Avon shoots in the end is I mean, he shoots her for no reason. He flat out commits. He was never a blatant murderer before. Avon did not believe in killing for no reason. And he killed an unarmed woman in that scene. Avon may not be a psychopath, but the episode Blake calls him one. The director called him one. By showing, when he says those words, again, thieves, it shows Villa. Killers, it shows Dana and Su Lin. Mercenaries, it shows Tarrant. And then he says, psychopaths, with that smile, and it shows him. Just crazy directing, but in an interesting way. The episode's brilliant and directed all the way through. Then, of course, they teleport down. And Tarrant goes down with the ship, crashes. They all get separated. And I love this scene. I love, of course, we get to see Blake. Earlier, he meets Arlen and brings her in. He catches her. He's playing the bounty hunter routine. And we all know that he's really like trying to gather an army together. And then later, I think when they get into that campsite, and they try to go to sleep, but they leave Villa on guard. I love the scene where Avon basically baits a trap. Mark, deal with the scene. What's up, buddy? When Avon baits a scene for a trap, so he can steal a flyer from a couple of thugs, and they go in and they're about to attack Sulin and Dana as they sleep because they knocked out Villa because he's asleep. And when he comes in there, he says, "I wouldn't do that if I were you." And he shoots the two guys. It wakes up the women, and he tells them in classic Avon snarl, "The fire was stupid. Leaving Villa on guard was suicidal. What's the matter? Staying alive too complicated for you?" I just love it. This episode is so great and so vicious and so mean. And of course, basically, I love how Sulin doesn't like it. She goes, "You wouldn't have laid it." Oh, Dana says, we wouldn't have been the trap and a bait, or the bait and a trap. Oh, that is an unattractive idea. I really could be quite annoyed if we'd been the bait and a trap you laid for them, Avon. Yeah, I mean, don't piss Sulin off, dude. But anyway, they got the flyer. They fly into that base. And then boom. I think Avon was going crazy at the end there. I mean, I don't know what else to say. He didn't listen to reason. And again, it was partially Blake's fault by Tarrant not understanding. When he even tells Avon, he's pretending to be, again, they're trying to find out. They're trying to build an army. Because if it is Avon, we haven't long the way. He goes, "What on earth happened to you?" "Oh, most of it wasn't on Earth, Terrence. Not what happened to me." So he runs out there. Avon, Terrence running through the base. He finds Avon and the gang, who's been knocked down, but they shoot the guy that they just flat out murdered. Sulin shoots the guy that's attacking Terrence. He goes, and it's an honest scene between Avon, and Terrence have kind of become friends because I'm glad you made it. So am I. Avon, I think he's here. And then he just sees him. And they go, and Avon and Terrence even ask, "Is it him?" And Villa says, "It's him. He sold us, Avon. All of us. Even you." And that scene, good God, it kills me every time. "Is it true? Avon, it's me, Blake. Stand still. Have you betrayed us? Have you betrayed me?" Talent doesn't understand. Neither do I. Blake, I set all this up. Yes. Avon, I was waiting for you. And then he just fucking shoots him. Right in the gut. Now, Garrett Thomas he stipulated that he wanted Blake shot, bloody, and dead. He wanted the character over with. Whether we like that or not, that's what he wanted. And he shoots him in the gut, and then he just grabs him. He falls there and goes, hey, Bond. Boom. Then we got that, of course, before that, Avon had killed his lady played by his wife. Arlen comes in there. The Maldron character, or the guy, Diva comes in and says, "Arlen, what happened?" He happened. She shoots Diva. All hell breaks loose. They all start shooting it out. Villa takes out Arlen, but then Federation troops come in and start shooting, and Villa fakes getting shot. Probably, I think it might be the clone. I don't know. Then they all look like they get shot. Then there's Paul Darrow. There's Avon standing there with all those guns around him, and then the screen goes black. You hear those shots. Then the music finally fades into the existence, and we don't know. But my friend Claude told Paul Darrow at a con, he said, "Well, Avon just ducked." Yeah. We all know there have been books, Blake 7 Afterlife. There have been those Lucifer books that Paul Darrow wrote. And there ends the series. It's over. Blake's dead, maybe. Avon lives. And my countdown and ranking is over. Took me a while. Actually, I thought it would take longer than this, but I went fast. So I think I went fast. I read the first Lucifer book. I didn't read any of the other ones, J-Man. So I don't know if anyone else has read those. I read Afterlife, though. Afterlife by Tony Atwood came out back in the 90s. It's cynical, but it's pretty good. You know, it's pretty brutal though. I think it's a little bit cynical in his take on Avon and why he killed Blake and stuff like that. Why did he kill Blake? Have you betrayed me, Max? I don't know. We'll never know, right? Terry Nation and Chris not around to tell us. Chris Boucher is probably not empowered to tell us. I guess he could. I've got some of those big finishes as well. Yeah, I've always meant to listen to Caldor City. One of these days, I probably will. Probably. So, anyway, there I've done it. I finally got it out of my system. Well, it's still in my system. So I'll do a fast recap for those who missed it. I'll do it without really talking about each episode. For those who came late, I'll recap 52 down. And then we won't bug you anymore. Okay, so again, this is the fast recap of the countdown of the episodes. Animals at 52, rating 1 star. 51 is Sarcophagus with 1 star. Moloch is 50 with 1.5 stars. The Web is 49 at 1.5 stars. Ultra World is 48 with 1.5 stars. Traitor is 47 with 2 stars. Sand is 46 with 2 stars. Dawn of the Gods is 45 with 2.5 stars. Volcano is 44 with 2.5 stars. Sorry. The Keeper is 43 with 2.5 stars. Warlord is 42 with 3 stars. Power is 41 with 3.5 stars. Cygnus Alpha is 40 with 3.5 stars. Mission to Destiny is 39 with 3.5 stars. Star Drive is 38 with 4 stars. Games is 37 with 4 stars. Deliverance is 36 with 4.5 stars. Gold is 35 with 4.5 stars. Shadow is 34 with 4.5 stars. Children of Aron is 33 with 4.5 stars. The Way Back is 32 with 5 stars. Bounty is 31 with 5 stars. Rescue is 30 with 5 stars. Voice from the Past is 29 with 5 stars. Redemption is 28 with 5 stars. Duel is 27 with 5.5 stars. Horizon is 26 with 5.5 stars. I am not expendable, I am not stupid, and I'm not going. Assassin is number 25 at 6 stars. Hostage is 24 at 6 stars. Time Squad is 23 at 6 stars. Headhunter is 22 at 6 stars, with 6 stars, I should say. Where are you? Oh, sorry. Breakdown is 21 with 6.5 stars. Seek, Locate, Destroy is 20 with 6.5 stars. Project Avalon is 19 with 6.5 stars. Spacefall is number 18 with 6.5 stars. Deathwatch is 17 with 6.5 stars. Orbit is 16 with 6.5 stars. Orak is 15 with 6.5 stars. Power Play is 14 with 7 stars. Killer is 13 with 7 stars. Gambit is 12 with 7 stars. City at the Edge of the World is 11 with 7 stars plus 1. 7 stars plus, I should say. Pressure Point is number 10 in the top 10 now with 7 stars plus. Weapon is 9 at 7 stars plus. Aftermath is 8 at 7 stars plus plus. The Harvest of Kairos is 7 plus plus. Is it number 7? It's number 7. It's like 7, and it's 7 stars plus plus. Terminal is 6 at 7 plus plus stars. Countdown is number 5 at 7 plus plus. Trial is number 4 at 7 plus plus. Star 1 is number 3 at 7 plus plus plus. Rumors of Death is number 2 with 7 plus 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 stars. And at number 1, Blake with 7 plus 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 stars. And there you have it. That's the quick countdown there. Sorry, my eyes were off the chat while I was doing that, trying to do that quickly, folks, so I missed a whole bunch. And by the way, now that I'm glad you mentioned that 70s, everyone starting now, if you're willing, if you want to give me your number 1 episode and put it there, I'll star them and read them all. If you have one, just a thought. If you want, you can put your worst episode if you want. But what I want to do is I'm going to check our poll now. Let me refresh my screen over here and check our poll for that I put at the beginning of the show and see how we're doing on that. takes a second to refresh this sucker. Come on, man. What are you doing? It's being weird. What is wrong with you? YouTube's being a... What in the crap is wrong with you? Oh, there we go. Okay. All right. Okay, I guess I will... let me check it here. Okay, we're 32 votes. I'm going to go ahead and... No, I'll leave it up there for right now. I'll leave it running a little bit longer. Okay, on our poll of who is your favorite Blake 7 character? In first place, no surprise, is Avalon at 61%. In second place is Blake at 21%. And Villa and Servalan are tied at 9%. And that's 33 votes. Wow. Okay. Interesting. You only get 4 options, by the way, everyone, in case you're wondering. The word. Okay. Everyone's putting their favorites. Okay, I'm sorry. Let me go see if I'll star them. I got yours there. Make sure I didn't miss anybody. In case I missed anyone, I'm starting right at 9:42, where 70 says his favorite episode is his favorite episode. All right. There we go. Problem being is cheating. I can see. Let's see here. We'll save all these. Okay, let's see here. Anyone else mention any favorite ones? Nobody else mentioned any favorite ones? Okay, that's fine. I've stopped, like I'm saving the comments so I can get to them there. Okay, let's see. Bop. All right. Well, if any other pop up, I'll try to watch for them here. Let's see. Let's see here. So 70s, that's 70s rock fans. Good to see you there, Kamloops. Says Aurak is my favorite episode. Well, it's a great one. I mean, I'll tell you that for sure. Let's see, what did I put? I have it highly rated, sir. Of course, they're all highly rated to me. I mean, when you get down to it, or at least a lot of the first half of them are, man. I got it at 15, and at 15, man, I got like Aurak. I think I got it at a 7 or something. So, I mean, Aurak's great. Love it. Love that episode. Hungry Boy says he's got his at Blake as well. We're some sickos to have Blake at number 1, aren't we? Problem being cheating, saying my favorite episode is Blake 7 is series A to D. But we'll allow it because it's a good answer. Kitty, the furry kitty says, City at the Edge of the World or Sand are excellent episodes. Probably Moloch is the worst. There you go. I love City at the Edge of the World. Max Redstone's number 1 favorite is Hostage. The word. Turn on the bracelet. The word. That scene alone is worth the price of admission. Love it, Max. Seek, Locate, Destroy would be number 2 episode. That's a great one. 70s. I love that one. I think I have that at where did I put that one? Got it pretty high. I got it at 20. That's the first appearance of Servalan and Travis. Love it. J-Man said Avon is my 3rd favorite character of any show after my buddy the Doctor and Spock. Yes, he's my number 2 all-time favorite character of anything ever, I think. Furry Kitten says, I really like Sand and Sarcophagus, maybe Tanith Lee. There you go. But probably says favorite probably Orbit or Gold. Orbit or Gold. Fine episodes. I love Orbit. See if I missed anybody else. I'm starting some more here. why. God, sorry about that. I hit that stupid, I was trying to click on another one and I hit the, oh, shit. Maybe I can block it out later. Let's see. I didn't mean to, probably. I didn't even know I hit that one until I looked over there. God damn it, that pisses me off. Now I got to go blur that stupid thing. Fuck. God damn it, that pisses me off. I was just trying to click on something else and it's fucking StreamYards. God motherfucking damn it. Fuck. All right. Oh, that aggravates me. 70 said Star 1 would be my third favorite. I love it. Great episode. I think that's yeah. I got that at my number 3 also. I think. Yeah, I got that at my number 3 as well. Furry Kitten says Orbit is a fantastic episode. It has John Savadin in it. So automatically great. Yes, love it. He's fantastic. He was also in Trial. Mark D with the C says, my favorite episodes were Star Wars, Aftermath, Power Play. It's like a trilogy there, really. I love it. I love it. Got to make a great movie. Blake is an amazing episode to end the series. Agreed. And yeah, I often will get in the mood and I'll just like watch a trilogy of Star Wars, Aftermath, Power Play. I do that a lot. Probably says Blake is a phenomenal ending. Agreed, sir. Ezra says, my favorite Blake 7 episode of City of the Edge of the World. A fine choice. Love it. And Star Wars and Aftermath are great indeed. Yes, they are. Just love them. Yeah, I'm pretty aggravated by having that on there. I'm gonna have to go block that stupid thing out now. Pisses me off. Fucking bots. And here I was being nice to the bots, like making jokes like, hey, bots are people too. Maybe they're just here to watch. Screw them. But I said what aggravates me is I didn't accidentally click it, and for like 10 seconds or whatever, I didn't even know I'd done it. Asinine. Yeah, well. Oh, well, it's weird getting done this early. Well, we started to, well, not early. Have I been going almost 3 hours? Holy shit. The Thing, what's up, buddy? Now I'm absolutely jealous, Probby. You have the Corgi Liberator? Oh my goodness. Right in front of you. Oh man. See, I have absolutely zero Blake 7 figures or merchandise of any kind. I have no figures of it, no ships, nothing other than, books and audio dramas and shit, because you can't get anything. It's like The Prisoner. You can't get any figures on it. Pisses me off. And even and let's face it, even the what stuff they had over there back when the show was on, there wasn't a lot, comparatively speaking. So they need to come out. I think I saw somebody did a custom Avon 1/6 or whatever that I saw when I was messing around online yesterday. I'm like, oh, damn it, don't show me that. But there's never going to be. Well, I crowdfunded. I helped to crowdfund those Prisoner figures over a year ago, and they still haven't come out yet. And I'd love for them to do Blake 7, but they never will. My Corgi Liberator is the third one I've owned. The previous two were when I was a little kid and both got lost. I got you. Even that would be something, though. And I know they have some models here and there, but you can't get them here. Oh, thanks, Probby. That's cool. I've heard. I think the Caldor City videos. Audios. I know I never listened to them, but I think I had some copies made for me before and never listened to them. I may have them buried somewhere. But thank you. I appreciate you, Probby. It's Clobberin time indeed. The Thing. Good to see you there, buddy. No, I guess I'll close it up here. because we've done our business. I started 2 hours early. A lot of great friends popped in. I know not everybody is a Blake 7 fan, but even some friends who are not Blake 7 fans popped in. Tonight, of course, the Orville episode 9 comes on in about a little over an hour. And obviously, we have a lot of problems now with what's going on with the Orville, but I've decided to keep, I'm going to keep watching it, of course. And I will be on. Mark D, do you know exactly what time we're going to be on the? Oh, probably you don't have to go to that kind of trouble. That's so nice of you. Probably such a great friend. He says, if you want, I can find the Corgi Liberator and send it to you. Don't go to any kind of trouble or expense for something like that, my friend. But not that I wouldn't love it. Don't get me wrong. But I don't want to make you. I would not ask you to do something like that. But that, I mean, if you can find one cheap that I can purchase to have it sent or something. But you're too kind, man. See, Problem being's a good pal. I really appreciate you. We love Probby around here, and I miss hanging out with you, Probby. We need to do it again soon. Talking Blake 7 or whatever, Doctor Who, whatever. Furry Kitten says, I think my wife lost them along with a box of 2080 issues. I've had tons of 2080s before. Blake would have been perfect if Servalan had not been missing. Yeah, you'd like to see Servalan walk up at the end in there. I hear you. She was in Warlord, the second to last episode. Well, I hear you, probably. So, anyway, I'm not exactly sure what time it is, but I'm going to be on Nerdporio Liveform's channel tonight after the Orville to do a reaction show with him and Mark D with a C, and I think our friend Jill's going to be there. I think it's at 12:35 a.m. Central, but I'm not 100% sure about that. I don't know for sure, so, but I will find out, I guess. Yeah, it would be nice to see Servalan in it. And so, other show notes. Let's see here. Tomorrow night, maybe I'll talk a little bit more about Blake 7 tomorrow night with Mark and Raquel. But the clubhouse will be open tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, with my wonderful first officer, R.M. Briggs, and, of course, our great chief engineer, Mark D. with AC. Friday night, I'll be on with Friday morning, I'll be on with Loki's Mornings of Mischief, 8 a.m. Central, reviewing the latest episode of The Orville with that great crowd. And then Friday night, I'll be on Nick Weiser's channel, his Nick's Comic Shop Talk, reviewing the 70s classic comic Nova. And then, of course, the Saturday night Star Trek, and our ongoing mission to review all of Star Trek between 2066 or 2005, the only real Star Trek there is. We have just last week we started our Deep Space Nine reviews, and we're going to be doing it for quite some time. We have 4 more episodes of Deep Space Nine to review Saturday night, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. And so I'm looking forward to that. And yeah, and then of course Mark D has a new video out. Mark D with a C has a new video out, new enabling bot video, and he will have Sunday Night Geekery, hopefully Sunday night at 10 p.m. Eastern. So anyway. So I want to thank everyone for being here with me tonight. There might be one. So let's see. Okay, so let me see who all came here tonight. First, I want to thank the great Problem being Probby for being here. I want to thank the great Chris Persia and my wonderful friend Anti-Derivative Jill for popping in. The great J-Man was here, of course. Phantom Outsider, buddy, thank you for being here with us tonight. I'm trying to get everybody. Hang on, something. It takes a second to get all that far back. Thank you, Joe's Atmosphere, for being here. I want to not thank the bots for being here, being jagoffs. takes a second for this chat, Paul. I'm sorry, everybody. Come on, man. This chat's taking a while. Okay. Man, it's gonna. I have to. When I'm winding the whole thing back, takes a bit, folks. Sorry, but I like to shout out everybody because this was an important thing to me. Being able to do this, I've wanted to do it for a long time. I hope it was okay for you all. I had a lot of fun doing it, though. Okay, here we go. Wagnar was here. Thank you, Wagnar. Good to see you there, buddy. Pat S was here. Hey, bro. Thank you. Dave G Sound said he had to run, but he might catch it later. Dave G Sound, if you are catching this later, thank you, man, for being here tonight. Appreciate you. Captain Time Lord Spock was here. Scuba Pete was here. The lovely Rough Girl and gave us a super chat too. Thank you, Rough Girl. Appreciate you so much. You're too kind. Let's see. Hungry Boy, hungry for more of the evil romance betwixt Servalan and Avon. I love that name. Thanks again, Scuba Pete, for the super chat, buddy. I appreciate you. Let's see. Masters, Maniac Mexico. Thank you for being here. Dave Bob popped in. Hey, Dave Bob. Good to see you there, bro. Ezra Goldstein, thank you so much for being here tonight. Thanks to the great Maximum Redstone. Brother, always like talking Blake 7 with you. We'll talk. We'll have you on here one day, and we'll just talk it up on Blake 7. I promise. Brian Hepburn, thank you for being here. Hang on. Dadman popped in earlier, our buddy Dadman walking. Again, of course, the aforementioned great Mark D with the C, who will be on later with Nerdporial with us, and the great Anti-Derivative Jill, who will also be there with us. Phantom Outsider, I think I mentioned you already, but thanks, buddy, for being here. Eastland Barkholder, I did not see you pop in earlier. Good to see you, Eastland. It's been for ages, my friend. I hope you're doing well. Colgy Pan, hey. Thank you for popping in. It's been a while. Good to see you. Good to see you. The great Maddie's daddy, Steve Mitchum, was here. Thank you, buddy, for being here. Claude Parrish was here. Claude was here, and he said suck things, and he will. We will. Hang on. Hang on. Crimson Ghost, the Fiend, second channel. Thank you, Crimson Ghost, for being here with us tonight. Appreciate you. I'm just making sure I got everybody here real quick. Looks like I probably got most. I had to back the chat way back up. All right, I think I got everybody. I hope I did not miss anyone. That's the way it goes sometimes. Joe's Atmosphere, I think I got your up just in case. Furry Kitten, again, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate your comments and hanging out with us. That 70s rock fan brother, appreciate you. World Made of Cardboard, thank you for being here with us tonight. Appreciate you both. Okay, I think may have got everybody. Just like to be sure. I have the chat way backed up, so I'm not seeing any of the new stuff yet. So, there we go. All right. Well, I think I'm going to go ahead and take a chance that I didn't miss anybody. Oh, the Thing. Of course, I didn't miss you. I missed someone. The Thing was here. Good to see you there, bro. Thank you for being here. That's a good secret identity you got there. I think I got everybody. If I missed anyone, I deeply apologize. Try not to. But thank you all for being here with me tonight. It's been a lot of fun for me. I hope it was at least a little fun for you. And, Monday night, by the way, the great J-Man and I will have a Clobby's Classic Comics review. We'll be reviewing Batman number 321, Dreadful Birthday, Dear Joker by Lynn Wein, Walt Simonson, and Dick Giordano. So that'll be Monday Night Mark C. Comics Talk. And now, I guess, that is that. Thank you all, everyone. Hope to see you tomorrow night on the Clubhouse. Please, everyone, have a wonderful, fabulous, fantasiistic into the rest of your day after these important messages. I will play us out. Take care, everybody. Clobber on, clobberettes, and clobberers. and Clobberin and every other things. Good night, everybody. Oh, man, I forgot the final poll results, folks, but they are as follows. For 35 votes, Avon wins at 60%. Blake comes in at 22%. And tied for third place are Villa and Servalan at 8%. So sorry about that, folks. Thank you all. Now, have a great night, everybody.